a high, deep drive into left field, and this ball is long gone. Safe, he got under the tag.
Will one hop the wall, and it lands for a double.
Want to ride into deep left field, and this ball is gone. Falmouth is going to the Western Division Final. noon here at McKeon Park. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. I think this might be one of our least viewed games of the summer. It's one of the least attended games we've seen. It's a wacky doubleheader today between the Commodores and the Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, thanks to all the rainouts we've had. I don't even know what game this is rescheduling at this point.
Yeah.
But they decided 12 noon on a Monday, a home-and-home doubleheader. We've seen the New York Mets and the New York Yankees do it in Major League Baseball. Otherwise, you pretty much never see this outside maybe summer leagues and in the Cape Cod League. Sometimes it has to happen, and the Harbor Hawks and the Doors get to enjoy one of these wacky doubleheaders that they'll always be able to talk about and say how they were involved in one.
This game and this ballpark was a ghost town until about 11 o'clock. We showed up around 10. There was no one here. The press box was locked. Falmouth Commodores rolled in at about 11, coaches at 11:30, and the Harbor Hawks trickled in between about 10:45 and 11:15. This is the earliest start time for any Cape League game this summer, rescheduling the game that was supposed to be last week but was canceled due to the tornado that came through Cape Cod. Harbor Hawks 5th in the West Division at 7-30-2. Commodores first place in the West at 24-13-1. With 2 wins today, the Commodores would lock up first place in the West Division, and the Harbor Hawks have already been eliminated from postseason contention. 11-game winning streak for the Doors was snapped yesterday, and today they will go up against Pat Fredrickson from Minnesota. Hayden Cantrell, the switch hitter, will start things off for us at about 12:03. Fredrickson, the righty, plays for the Golden Gophers. Starts off with a curveball that's high and outside. Umpires today, Ronaldo Cochran behind the plate, Nick Zabelli over at first, and Bill Julie at third. Commodores wearing their road blacks with the white pants as a fastball misses low to Cantrell, and the Harbor Hawks wearing their home white pinstripes with the orange cursive Hyannis across the front, blue caps with the orange H. Matchups 5 and 6 for the Commodores and the Harbor Hawks. Coming up today, there's a foul ball skewered over towards the third base dugout. Commodores have had a weird schedule with now 3 doubleheaders in 5 days. This is number 2. Here's a fly ball that's lifted into left field. Trevor Hauver has a ways to go. Sun right in his eyes, but he makes the catch, 1 down.
Something I'm interested to see in this game is how the hitters are going to respond to having this early start, because it is only 12 noon. I mean, we see this in college ball. We see this in Major League ball, that Sunday games will often be played at noon. But it has never happened on the Cape, and it might be a tough adjustment getting into that. Guys might be used to waking up at a certain time, going through a certain routine. All of a sudden, that doesn't just get shifted. It gets totally turned around. And so I would expect that it's going to be a pitcher's duel through the first couple of innings as guys kind of settle in.
Fredrickson with an 8.71 ERA as a curveball drops in for a strike to Blake Dunn. 1-2 record. This is his 3rd start. Last 2 times out, he's gone just an inning and a third. His longest appearance of the summer was a 4-inning win against Orleans. Another off speed. This one misses low and outside to Blake Dunn, who's back in the 2 spot. We'll walk you through the rest of the Commodores order. Zach DeLoach hitting third, playing right. Trey Cruz playing third, batting cleanup. There's a fastball just outside, 2-1. Jackson Coots, 4th straight start at first base. Baron Radcliffe DHing, batting 6th. Taylor Smith catching, batting 7th. Langworthy in left field at the 8th spot, and Kevin Kendall rounding out the order at short. 2-1 is another fastball. Nice pitch on the outside black, 2-2.
Biggest issue for Fredrickson is limiting the hits. 20 2/3 innings of work. He's allowed 30 hits, and you would expect it, but his worst outings have been when he's got the hit counts going.
Curveball appeal down to the first base umpire, Nick Zabelli. He did not go around. Blake Dunn batted in the 9-hole yesterday, back up to his traditional spot batting second.
He was good in the 9-hole, though.
Yeah, he was. Had a couple hits. Batted before Cantrell, who was the leadoff man. Here's a ground ball that'll scoot through the 4-3 hole into right field. Blake Dunn keeps his hot streak at the plate going with a single and one down.
Yeah, so maybe it's not that he has to be batting 9. Maybe he's just kind of starting to catch fire again. Seen his batting average dip to around 225. But that's a great piece of two-strike hitting, getting an outside breaking ball, staying on it, sitting back, and just going with the pitch. More of a defensive swing, but oftentimes if you're able to stay back on some breaking balls, you can shoot it to the opposite field and find some gaps.
That's exactly what he did. The righty Dunn poked it into right field on a defensive swing on a 3-2 count. He's the first base runner for either side as Fredrickson checks over at first base. Defensive alignment for the Harbor Hawks. Traditional outfield with Haver in left, Teodosio in center, Rigsby Mosley in right. Jackson Olsen manning the hot corner, Jordan Westberg from Mississippi State at short. Lucas Dunn back from Team USA at second base. Ian Fair from Northeastern at first. And catching is Hunter Goodman. Fredrickson working from the stretch. They caught Dunn lagging, but he slides in safely.
Yeah, poor tag applied by Fair. Looks like his glove hit the dirt first and then kind of stopped short as Dunn was able to slide around towards the back edge of the first base bag.
Zach DeLoach 2 for 4 with a run scored last night. A 5-3 loss to the Bourne Braves snapped an 11-game winning streak for the Commodores. It's tied for the 6th longest streak in Cape League history. Bouncing, throw down to second base, not in time. Blake Dunn did not take long to take advantage of the low pitch, and he's in scoring position.
The entire time, DeLoach was telling him, don't go. He had the stop sign up from home plate, as we often see hitters do, trying to help out their base runners, because it was a great block put on by Goodman, kept it in front of him. But Dunn, with all that speed, didn't waste any time. He didn't pay attention to DeLoach at all, and he's going to beat out the throws every time as long as he doesn't hesitate.
Here's the 1-0. Strike at the knees to make it 1-1. DeLoach a .350 batting average, 8 doubles, 5 home runs, 21 RBIs. He's been the best hitter on this team. One of the best hitters on the Cape. Fredrickson from Gig Harbor, Washington, kicks and delivers. Here's a blast into right field, right at Rigsby Mosley, who fields it over his shoulder, throws in, and Blake Dunn's tagging up. He slides into third base safely. Hard hit, line drive out to deep right field. Advances Dunn another 90 feet.
And you would think, how is Dunn able to advance after a laser off the bat of DeLoach, and Mosley was able to catch it, but he kind of turned himself around. He took a step in, took a step back, didn't really know where that one was going, had to jump a little bit, kind of a little skip step in order to come down with it. Blake Dunn was close enough to the bag that he thought, hey, he's off balanced, he doesn't have the best arm, I'm going to go take third, and he's able to do so successfully, so a pretty productive out for DeLoach.
Here's Trey Cruz, who nubs one foul over towards the first base coach, Ryan Eiley, celebrating his 25th birthday today.
He could be on this field.
To Coach Eiley, he definitely could. Graduated from Columbus State just a few years ago. Was in the Australian Baseball League. First summer on Cape Cod. Second pitch to Trey Cruz is a strike.
How about the bat Trey was able to swing yesterday?
Yeah.
Seemed like all the contact he was getting was going about 350 feet.
2 for 4 with 2 runs scored and an RBI. He went yard over the fence in right field. Ball high and outside makes the count 1-2. Cruz and DeLoach both with 21 RBIs, tied for the team lead. Cruz a switch hitter, batting as a lefty against the righty Fredrickson. Fredrickson trying to limit the damage here in the first. The 1-2 is inside, scoots past Goodman, but Blake Dunn holds up at third base.
So far, a lot of errant pitches. We've seen some wild pitches, but that one not going to go down as a pass ball because the runner stayed put, but just couldn't get squeezed quick enough by Goodman. Looked like it ricocheted right off the tail end of his glove and rolled away. Could have been a big mistake, and so far seems like Fredrickson and Goodman not really on the same page.
There's another low pitch, stopped by Goodman. Count is full to the cleanup man, Trey Cruz. Fredrickson struggled his sophomore year at Minnesota, 5.59 ERA and a 2-5 record. His freshman season, he led the Big Ten in ERA at 1.86. Curveball, laid off, and it's a ball. Dugout is loud for 12:10 in the morning, and now runners on the corners with 2 down.
And that was a great AB by Cruz. Obviously, going from 0-2 to 3-2 and then working a walk is significant, but Trey also hasn't been striking out recently, and we've seen him get pretty streaky throughout the season, and when he's getting all of his hits, he's not striking out at all. That's been the case. It's you look at some of his box lines, and he's got 2 hits, 3 hits in each game, no Ks. When he's getting out, he's usually making contact, and it shows right there that even on some great 2-strike pitches, he's still seeing it very well.
Here's Jackson Coots, who had another 2 RBIs last night against his teammate Tyler Brocious. Swings through the first pitch fastball for a strike. Fredrickson, that freshman year at Minnesota, 1.86 ERA, a 9-0 record in 97 innings of work. Unbelievable freshman year. Took a couple steps back sophomore season and trying to regain that outstanding performance here this summer.
Yeah, I remember seeing his name a lot when it was Minnesota putting together that crazy year they had. They were probably the best Big Ten team we'd seen in quite some time until the very next year Michigan went on to Omaha, but that Minnesota team was something else, and he was a main part of it.
Going is Trey Cruz, and there's a single into right field. Blake Dunn comes around to score. Trey Cruz is all the way into third base. RBI single for Jackson Coots, and the Doors are up 1-0.
And Jackson Coots just continues to mash. I mean, it's something else seeing a guy who started out with a temporary contract, was getting starts pretty much every third day, now getting starts in 4 straight games, and he continues to hit very well. He went 4 for 6 against Bourne in the doubleheader a couple days ago. Yesterday against Bourne has a 2 RBI single. Now he's got another RBI single in his very first at-bat of this ball game, so putting together a nice little hitting streak. And, you know, if you keep hitting, you're going to keep starting. He seems like he's become the mainstay first baseman in the final week of July.
Pitching coach Ray Korn quickly out to talk to Fredrickson. Here's Barron Radcliffe, who's up at the plate. Still with runners on the corners. The Doors want more than 1 here in the first inning. Already 1 run on 2 hits, no errors for the Doors. Hyannis' pitching staff has been one of their weaknesses this summer, as a ball misses high and outside to the big lefty Barron Radcliffe. Hyannis with one of the worst seasons in recent memory on Cape Cod. Team ERA of 6.90. That is by far worst on the Cape. The 1-0 to Radcliffe. Below the knees, 2-0. And the dugout is very lively for an early game.
Listen, they always are. These guys love playing here. They love each other, and doesn't matter when you're starting. It could be 8 a.m., and they'd be like this. I have no doubt.
2-0 the count. It'll have to wait as Fredrickson checks on Coots. Hyannis had a doubleheader yesterday against the Wareham Gatemen here at McKeon Park. They lost game 1, tied game 2, 3-3. The 2-0 from the big righty. Ground ball over towards short, fielded by Jordan Westberg, who will throw on to first for the final out. Doors score 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. Jackson Coots with the go-ahead RBI single in the top of the first inning will be back for the bottom half of inning number 1 on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Welcome back to Hyannis. David Korzanowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. Falmouth with a 1-0 lead on Hyannis. And starting on the mound, a traditional bullpen arm for the Commodores. It is the lefty from Clemson University, Sam Weatherly.
Yeah, we saw him just make a bullpen appearance a couple days ago. Was pretty excellent in it. He's been excellent all summer long, but like you said, it's all been out of the bullpen for Weatherly, so it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to starting a ball game. Granted, he's probably not going to be pushed very long, as we are expecting this to be a bullpen day for the Doors. So Weatherly probably will go his routine, 2, maybe 3 innings max. The longest he's gone is 2 innings this summer, but he's been excellent. 0-1 record, 4.26 ERA, 14 strikeouts and 12 2/3 innings of work. And in his last 4 straight appearances, has not allowed a run, has only allowed 1 hit throughout those 4 appearances. So look for more of the same, and this time it's just the start of game. So how much different can it be?
Doors are looking for 3 out of Weatherly. As my partner mentioned, bullpen day for the Doors with Logan Hoffman starting game 2. That'll be his first start of the summer. Jordan Westberg will lead things off for Hyannis. .325 batting average, playing short today for the Harbor Hawks. First pitch from Weatherly is a fastball swung on and missed, strike 1. Ian Fair batting second, playing first base. Hunter Goodman, the catcher, in the 3 spot. Trevor Hauver from Arizona State cleaning up in left field. Lucas Dunn, as I mentioned, back from Team USA, batting 5th. Here's the second pitch, spiked in the dirt, 1-1. Rigsby Mosley, a late addition to the starting lineup, batting 6th. Brooke Carlson is in the 7 spot, designated hitting. Jackson Olsen batting 8th, playing 3rd. And Bryce Teodosio, the center fielder and teammate of Weatherly's, rounding out the order. Fastball inside, 2-1.
So we're going to get our first Tiger Bowl.
Oh, yeah. We love a good Tiger Bowl. The 2-1 from Weatherly. Check swing. He went around, 2-2.
One of those up and in fastballs where you're trying to turn away from it just to protect the mug, and Westberg ends up going around. It's an unlucky one. Weatherly's got it. He got a break.
Weatherly's one decision this summer was a loss in an inning and a third of work against Hyannis way back on June 26th. There's another fastball low to make the count full. He gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned, 4 hits, a walk, and a strikeout in a 10-4 loss for Falmouth. That was their only loss this year against Hyannis. Weatherly exhales and delivers. Payoff pitch, curveball, strike 3. Beautiful pitch, and Westberg frozen up. First batter of the day strikes out.
And Sam's been so good. I know that ERA is above 4, so you might think, oh, how good can he be? But he's got very limited numbers on the summer, having only now 13 innings pitched, because we know pitchers come at a premium on the Cape. You got to be very careful with how you use them. And it's really only that one appearance against Hyannis that was his major blemish. Otherwise, it's all zeros.
First pitch swinging is Ian Fair. It's flown out into center field, and Blake Dunn makes the catch. So a quick out number 2. Now nobody on and 2 down for Hunter Goodman.
Man, it'd be huge to get Goodman pretty quickly right here. Ian Fair doing Weatherly a favor, because like you said, if Falmouth wants to push him 3, really going to have to keep the pitch count low and be efficient in these innings.
Defense for the Commodores pretty common. Langworthy out and left, Dunn in center, DeLoach in right. Here's the first pitch to Goodman, curveball. Appeal down to first, he did not go around. Infield, Trey Cruz, the all-star third baseman at the hot corner. Steven Moretta will get a break in game one. Kevin Kendall's at short, Cantrell at second. Here's a two-hopper over towards Kevin Kendall, and just like that, he throws on to Jackson Coots for the third out. Rain of applause for the Commodores as a first strikeout on 6 pitches to Jordan Westberg, and then a couple quick outs. He gets out of the inning throwing only 9 pitches. Doors up 1-0 as we head to the second. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
7, 8, and 9 due up for Falmouth here in the top of inning number 2. Taylor Smith, Austin Langworthy, and Kevin Kendall. Commodores 2-1-1 versus Hyannis this season. With just 1 win, they would lock up the season series. With 2 wins, they will lock up the 1 seed in the Western Division and put themselves in the driver's seat with home field advantage for the first couple rounds of the playoffs, should they make it that far.
That'd be big, I think, just for the seeding. You know, home field doesn't really mean too much on the Cape with everybody in such close proximity to each other. But I think the biggest part of it is the fact that you might set yourself up with a matchup with Bourne. And we know Bourne has kind of give Falmouth some fits throughout the season. I mean, you look at Falmouth versus Wareham 5-0 against the Gatemen, but Wareham is a much better team than Bourne is. Wareham hits very well. They've got much better starting pitching. The Braves are at 4th in the division for a reason. They're well under 500 for a reason. And yeah, they've played Falmouth well, but I think in a playoff scenario, that's what the Commodores want. And right now, you got to just focus on yourselves, but we have the luxury of sitting, aside and being able to look at that and projecting that. Yep, would much rather look at a Falmouth matchup with Bourne rather than, say, Katuitt or Wareham.
Fredrickson out for his 2nd inning of work. The lanky right-hander starts off with a curveball to Taylor Smith, but it's a little bit upstairs. Fredrickson stands at a mighty 6'7", 220 pounds, but he looks pretty lanky. Delivers another curveball. This one misses outside. Went to Gig Harbor High School. Was the #1 right-handed pitcher out of Washington by perfect game. The 2-0 to Taylor Smith is outside. 3 balls and no strikes. Hyannis has had a tough summer in 2019. One stat that sticks out to me among many is the walks. There's a strike right down the middle. 185 walks is the most for any pitching staff on the Cape, and you're shooting yourselves in the foot when you walk that many batters.
Yeah, that's a lot of walks.
Here's the 3-1 to the righty catcher, and it's ball 4. Second walk for Fredrickson in just 1+ innings. So the Commodores start off with a base runner here with nobody out in the top of the second.
And you don't want to give the Doors base runners because they've already been a team that is doing so well and seem to be getting hits right when they need to. They're not overloading other teams with dominant performances or anything like that. But when they get base runners, they're using them pretty well. They're getting them across. They're moving them around. And Hyannis so far 2 walks and 2 innings, giving them some gifts.
Here's Austin Langworthy, left fielder for the Commodores, and two-way extraordinaire as he takes a strike on the inside part of the plate. We've seen him on the mound a couple times. He gave up a home run last night against Bourne, but locked down a save in game 1 of the doubleheader on Saturday. It's been fun to watch him, a 3rd-year Commodore. Knows this team inside and out. The 0-1. Swung on and fouled back off the plate. 0-2.
Good bounce back by Fredrickson at the very least after the 5-pitch walk to Smith, going with a fastball that just nips the inside corner. And then that changeup that was about knee-high the whole way completely collapses on Langworthy. All he can do is really force it off the plate.
Langworthy, a 172 average this summer, 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. The 0-2 is well high. More people here than I expected for a noon game.
Yeah.
Looks like they got the memo.
Because there's a couple different factors that come into play. First, you've got the fact that Hyannis has only 7 wins, has already been knocked out of the playoffs, and the fans know that.
Yeah.
They're paying attention. It's a noon game on a Monday.
Yep.
So, you know, you're tough even getting vacationers, let alone people who are working. And it was also a rescheduled noon game, so people might not have gotten the memo like you said.
Correct. The 1-2. Tried to put it about letter high, but it sailed at about eye level to Austin Langworthy. He's going to be a senior next year with the Florida Gators. 283 average during his junior season with 63 hits, 12 doubles, and 10 home runs. He had 7 home runs last summer. The 2-2 misses outside. But we haven't seen that power nearly as often in 2019.
Well, you know what? In 2018, 7 of those home runs came in like 10 games or something like that. I know he had 5 and 5. So if he could just wait a week and then start doing it, I'm sure the Doors would be very happy.
He's saving it for the playoffs. Payoff pitch from Fredrickson. High, ball 4. Wow. 2 straight walks, and that was a count that started 0-2. Runners on first and second, nobody out.
Yeah, that's the second 0-2 count that Fredrickson has faced in which he's lost the batter. First time it happened to Trey Cruz, this time to Langworthy. And those pitches against Langworthy were way outside, too. Those were easy layoffs for him, a lot of them coming in around eye level. So it's not like Langworthy kind of bested him. It just looks like Fredrickson lost his control.
Here's Kevin Kendall, 9-hitter for the Doors. UCLA Bruin. His teammate Nick Nastrini got the start yesterday. Shows bunt, pulls back, it's a ball. Nastrini went 5 innings, got a no decision, gave up a solo home run. That's in air quotes. As it was a ball down the left field line, landed about 20 feet foul. Rick Emerson, the third base ump, made the call that it was a fair ball. It tied the game 1-1, and the Doors were upset to say the least. Ended up losing the game by 2. Kendall shows bunt again. It's a beauty down the third base line. Fielded on a bare hand by Olsen. Throw on to first. They got him, but the runners move over to second and third with now just 1 out.
Yeah, that was a perfect bunt, and really Blake Dunn or Hayden Cantrell, who have more speed than Kevin, would have gotten to first base on it. Kevin just a little bit slower, but he's not trying to get a drag bunt. He's trying to push those guys into scoring position. Now the top of the lineup can come up with less than 2 outs and runners on second and third to do some damage.
Hayden Cantrell flew out in the first inning. This is already his second at-bat of the game. Remember, 7-inning games here in the doubleheader. Game 1 starting here at Hyannis at 12. Game number 2 will be at 6 p.m. back in Falmouth. Ball 1 at the collarbone of Cantrell. Flew out to left field to start off the game. Man after him, Blake Dunn, reached on a single, scored the game's only run. Fredrickson's working from the stretch with 2 runners in scoring position. There's a ball inside that Cantrell shimmies out of the way of, and right now that control issue rearing its ugly head here for Hyannis in just the second inning.
Yeah, it's not going well for Fredrickson. He's missing by a wide margin on a lot of these.
We know with that tall frame it might be tougher with release point and consistency. The 2-0, just low. Name that comes to mind is Joe Boyle, who's also at 6'7", and it took him a very long time to work on his control. Struggled mightily with walks his freshman year and the summer last year on the Cape, but he's since fixed those for the Harwich Mariners, and there is a 4-pitch walk to Hayden Cantrell. Bases are juiced. Commodores still without a hit here in the second inning. Now Blake Dunn comes to the plate.
This is something we've seen so often from the Doors throughout their win streak. that was at 11 games was there were some innings where they squeaked across 1-2 runs on like one hit.
Right.
They were getting a lot of walks, getting on base in more ways than just one. And it's continuing to pick up here. It's easy when you don't really have to stress too much that every pitch is missing by a lot. Cantrell gets the benefit of the doubt there. I wanted to remark on your point, tall pitchers having control issues. How about Franco Aleman?
Yeah,
6'6" as well, and he only throws strikes, it seems.
That's right. Strike one starts off the count to Blake Dunn.
We did talk about that with Franco, and he said, oh, it was difficult. It seems like he went through a lot of training and a lot of coaching to kind of settle down his body, because he said it's definitely tougher than other guys have it.
Franco Aleman just one earned run on the summer. One of the best pitchers on the Cape. There's another take from Blake Dunn. It's 1-1. Right now, the Commodores taking from Frederickson, who's already up to 42 pitches. That is not what you want in a doubleheader, especially after the Harbor Hawks had a doubleheader yesterday. The 1-1 swung on, foul tipped into the mitt of Goodman, 1-2.
I think his approach right now is just throw it down the middle.
You got to throw strikes.
Yeah, see if you can get a swing and miss like that one. Looked like Dunn was swinging for the fences. Hope that you get a ground ball maybe.
Double play would end the inning with no damage. Smith on third, Langworthy on second, Cantrell on first. The 1-2. Curveball popped into deep right field. Backtracking is Rigsby Mosley. It's at the wall, and it's off the scoreboard. A grand slam for Blake Dunn. 5-0 Doors.
I wouldn't say the wind is howling out to right field, but it's definitely blowing a little bit, and it seemed like that one got so high, just kept carrying. That scoreboard juts out a little bit, hits it right off. Blake Dunn showing off some power as he's got a couple home runs to his ledger on the season so far. And the Doors continue to hit grand slams. They've got to be leading the Cape in grand slams at this point. Blake Dunn getting in on the action, and like I said, didn't look like it was going to be a home run off the bat. Looked like a fly ball at best, probably a sacrifice fly. Just kept on going and going and going. Got it high enough that the wind was able to push it. And that flagpole out in right center definitely blowing further out.
A grand slam for Blake Dunn. It's his second home run in just under a week, I should say, as a foul ball goes down the first base line off the bat of Zach DeLoach. He had a shot against the Orleans Firebirds out at Eldridge Park. And then on a 1-2 count, pokes one into the opposite field that kept carrying and went off the scoreboard here at Hyannis. Here's a fly ball into foul territory. Moving over is the third baseman, Jackson Olsen. He gets blinded by the sun, can't make the catch. It lands foul, 0-2.
Yeah, he completely gave up. He looked up in the sun. I'm sure the ball went right into the path of the sunlight, just threw his hands back and ran 10 feet away so that he wouldn't get hit on the head. Smart decision by him. When you're in foul territory, you can do that.
So those grand slams, let's see if we can name them all.
Yeah.
I remember the first of the summer was Hayden Cantrell against Wareham. That gave the Doors a 3-run lead against the Gatemen back on June 17th. Taylor Smith had one.
Yep.
Barron Radcliffe had one.
In Chatham, yeah.
I think that's it, right?
4 grand slams in a summer is a lot.
The 0-2 loped foul back into the parking lot here at St. Pope John Paul II or Pope St.
John Paul II.
You say Pope first?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's standard.
Pope St. John Paul II High School here in Barnstable, where the Doors lead 5-0. Pitch to DeLoach is way high, 1-2.
And you know what I'm seeing a lot from Frederickson is when he's got guys 2 strikes, he's throwing a lot of high pitches, trying to get them to chase upstairs. So he doesn't have the velocity to really earn it. But he tried to do it against Langworthy. Langworthy laid off. Tried to do it against Dunn, and he left it too far over the plate, about letter high, and Dunn was able to send it for a ride.
The 1-2 is at the shins to make it 2-2. Frederickson's fastball, low to mid-90s on a good day. He's got a changeup and a curveball. Missed 2 months of his sophomore year at Minnesota with shoulder inflammation, but he's back this summer. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Looked like he took something off of it, and he gets his first strikeout of the afternoon, 2 down here in the second.
It's so hard to follow up a home run like Blake Dunn's. It's tough going for Zach Deloach when you've got bases loaded and one out. All of a sudden the bases get cleared. Really tough to respond from that, and it looks like Fredrickson knew that, kind of had in the back of his mind, well, you know, if I make a mistake, it's not going to burn me as much as the last one, so I can start to throw a little bit further over the plate.
Here's Trey Cruz. Big swing at the first pitch. Fastball foul tipped into the mitt of Goodman, 0-1. So the Doors with 4 runs here in the top of the second on just 1 hit. That's what walks will do for you. Walked 3 batters. They all came in to score on the grand slam. There's a fly ball down the left field line, foul. 0-2. Trey Cruz worked a walk in the first inning, made it all the way over to third base, but was left stranded after the Baron Radcliffe ground out. Here's the 0-2 from Fredrickson. Ground ball over towards short. Long way to go for Jordan. He fields it and throws on quickly. Zabilli says he's out. First base ump immediately made the out call, and Trey Cruz can't believe it. Some of the fans here incredulous as well, but the Doors add 4 more in the top of the second inning. 4 runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. We'll head to the bottom of inning number 2 on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal. The 99 Restaurant.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game. Sam Weatherly has thrown 9 pitches. He's got 3 outs in a row in the bottom of the first inning, and now he's got a 5-run cushion. That will help ease some of the stress of maybe your first start.
Yeah, that was a long inning, too. That's like 25 minutes. So Weatherly got a long rest. I wonder if he was warming up in the bullpen, because you throw 9 pitches in 1 inning, you probably can get pretty cold pretty quickly.
Doors plated 6 batters in the first inning, 7 in the second. Blake Dunn home run made this game 5-0. Ball 1 misses outside to the cleanup man, Trevor Hoover, who's not having an exceptional summer, but he's been solid. .239 average, 3 doubles, 2 home runs. There's a fastball just a hair high, 2-0.
Man, this Hyannis lineup is pretty good.
The batters are very talented. There's no question about that. You look at guys like Hoover, Rowdy Jordan, Lucas Dunn, some of the best players in college baseball. 2-0, below the knees, 3-0.
And they've got 3 guys in this lineup. Well, Rowdy got replaced by Mosley at the last second, but Westberg, Dunn, Jordan all went to Omaha. Guy like Trevor Hoover on a team at ASU who's projected to go to Omaha next year.
Right.
I mean, they've got a lot of talent from some great schools.
The 3-0 is a strike right down the middle to make it 3 balls and 1 strike. Hoover had an exceptional sophomore year. Unbelievable stats from him. .339 average, 82 hits, 32 extra base hits. So he takes a ball low, and it's a 5-pitch walk to start off the bottom of the second inning. Hoover also had 50 RBIs, 13 home runs, a 15-game hitting streak, a 21-game on-base streak. It's unbelievable from the left fielder, and we've seen him defensively, too. He's been impressive.
Yeah, out in left field, he's like a black hole.
Yeah.
Catches everything. You might want to put him into center the way he's able to track all of those baseballs.
Here's Lucas Dunn. Made a brief departure this summer from Hyannis to play for Team USA. Takes a ball inside. He's a Louisville Cardinal.
You know, the thing with this team, though, is as you know, the great hitters that they have from some of these great schools, they're towards the bottom half, bottom third even. as a strike comes in there at the knees. Beautiful breaking ball from Weatherly. Bottom third of a lot of offensive categories on the Cape. Really only Harwich, sometimes Orleans is behind them, but they're still not putting up the numbers that you would think they would.
1-1 the count. Weatherly pitching from the stretch for the first time. There's a ball at about the ankles of Lucas Dunn. He's had quite the summer, and he has not stopped. Article came out recently on his summer with Team USA. He says he's coming back for a week to Cape Cod, and then he'll go directly back to school in Louisville. Went around on the 2-1 to make it 2-2. Says he hasn't had 3 days off in a row since February. And that's kind of the lifestyle for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I'm sure he likes it that way. Some guys might gripe about it, but there's a reason he wanted to come back to the Cape, whereas pretty much everybody else from all those other, teams that got nabbed by Team USA are probably taking some time off. He wants to improve. He's only a rising sophomore with Louisville, so got some time to put in. And again, this is the lifestyle you're going to be living in a couple of years if you're one of these players. Minor league baseball does not stop.
The 2-2 from the ACC Clemson Tiger to the Louisville Cardinal. There's a ball that's lifted just foul down the right field line. Dunn batted .309 last year at Louisville. 59 hits, 10 doubles, 25 RBIs. His best series of the year against Florida State was 7 for 13 across 3 games, had 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. Both of those doubles coming in the same game on Saturday in mid-May. There's a slider that breaks too far inside to Dunn. Full count. Weatherly struggled a little bit with walks his last time out against Bourne. Fired 2 4-pitch walks to start off his inning of work. Mike Landry came out, told him to throw strikes, and he did. Could use a strike here. Payoff pitch. Ball 4. Got squeezed by the home plate ump, Ronaldo Cockrum. Just a little bit outside, maybe a hair low. And that's 2 walks to start off the bottom of the second inning.
I think that's the right call from Cockrum. You heard a lot of cheers from the Falmouth dugout expecting to be called a strike, but it was just a really good frame by Smith. Definitely an outside pitch, and now Landry's going to probably say the same thing he did his last time to Sam Weatherly.
Weatherly now up to 21 pitches. We've seen his longest outing this summer was just 2 innings. He's done it 3 separate times. 2 innings against Wareham, shutout, no hits. 2 innings against Katuitt, shutout, no hits, 1 walk. And then his first outing of the summer, June 15th against Bourne, 2 innings, 1 run, but it was unearned, a walk and 3 Ks. He had a 3.38 ERA during his sophomore year at Clemson in 21 appearances. 29 in the 3rd innings of work. His strikeout numbers were great, almost a 2-to-1 ratio with 46 Ks in those about 30 innings. And 30 walks. Here's Rigsby Mosley from Troy. Strike right down the middle. Mosley a .218 average this summer with a double, a triple, and a home run. Hauver's in scoring position. Dunn is at first. Still no hits for Hyannis. There's a pitch swung on and fouled back, 0-2. Lefty-lefty matchup here with nobody down in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Hyannis trails Falmouth 5-0. High fastball that Mosley lays off. It's 1-2.
Tell Weatherly's looking for the strikeout. Ground ball could get the trick done. Could get a double play, but I think he's trying to K him up and maybe get a ground ball with the next batter.
Here's the 1-2. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Went with the fastball right down the chute, and Mosley comes up swinging. It's his 2nd strikeout for Weatherly, now 1 down with 2 on in the 2nd.
Looked like it had a little bit of tailing action, too. Kind of dove out towards the outside corner a little bit more. Mosley was right on with it and lunged, ducked a little bit as he was trying to put bat to ball. Great pitch from Weatherly.
Brooks Carlson from Samford steps up to the dish. .154 average this summer. Designated hitting this afternoon for Hyannis. First pitch from Weatherly is a nice strike on the inside part of the plate. Carlson didn't like it. Commodores got to be dying in those road blacks. I know I've said it a few times on these hot days.
It is very hot. It's very humid today.
The noon sun, it's about 85 degrees as a fly ball is skied back out of play.
I like the white pants with it, though.
Yeah, so there were some laundry difficulties.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah, so I think with the road uniforms, they usually wear the gray pants. Had to wash them last night after an away game against Bourne. And now the Commodores wearing their home pants with the road tops.
I think it's a better look.
I kind of agree. Yeah, I think you see more of a contrast. The 0-2 check swing. Appeal down to the first base ump. He didn't go around, but Weatherly thought it was a strike regardless.
That was a great pitch. I'm shocked that Carlson didn't go around. That's what I would be griping about, is how the heck did you hold up? It looked like he did, but I would be thinking that was one of the best pitches he's thrown all day. He nearly went around. Got to take a lot of discipline to just stop that swing in time.
1-2. Just gets a piece of the fastball to stay alive. Harbor Hawks 7-30-2. 31-2, excuse me. They've played 40 games. With a tie last night, they guaranteed that they would not have the worst record in Cape League history. That was 7-37 from the 2005 Harbor Hawks.
So not a good stretch of 14 years for Hyannis. I don't know if they have a championship in between that time.
I don't think they do. I think they have the second longest drought in the Cape League.
Okay.
With their last championship coming in '91. That was back when they were called the Hyannis Mets. Changed their name in '09 due to a new rule by the MLB. The 1-2. Curveball swung on and missed. Strike 3.
Great response by Weatherly. These breaking balls have been lights out.
2 straight Ks for Weatherly. And now Jackson Olsen comes up to the plate with 2 down and 2 on. Hyannis was called the Mets because Hyannis kind of is the city, if you will, on Cape Cod.
Mm-hmm.
Mets obviously short for Metropolitans. Nice stop by Taylor Smith on a ball in the dirt. The Mets took care of Hyannis for a number of years. Gave him new uniforms.
Is that how it worked? Did they actually have like a relationship with the major league
so I
team?
believe that the rule was that if you have the same name as the team, you have to go to the same place for apparel.
Uh-huh.
As a ball comes in high to Olsen, 2-0. And when that new rule came out in 2009, some of the teams kept their names, like the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, the Harwich Mariners, the Bourne Braves. Hyannis changed their names to the Harbor Hawks, the Chatham A's, who were the Chatham Athletics, abbreviated to Chatham Anglers, commonly referred to as the Chatham A's. There's a slider breaking outside. He did not go around 3-0.
The Firebirds, or the Cardinals, became the Firebirds out in Orleans.
Correct.
So the only teams, I guess Brewster didn't have an affiliation, Falmouth and Wareham didn't have an affiliation.
Right.
I like the unique names.
I do too.
I don't like the copycat names.
3-0 the count to Olsen. There's a strike to make it 3-1. Olsen batting .236 this summer, 3 RBIs. 3 doubles, 6 RBIs. There's a fly into right field. Deloach is over, and he makes the catch in deep right. Sam Weatherly works out of a jam after issuing 2 walks to start off the bottom of the second inning. The Harbor Hawks score no runs on no hits, no errors, and they leave 2 on base. Still 5-0 Falmouth as we head to the third on Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20 plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center. Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Fredrickson out for his third inning of work, hoping to find more luck here in inning number 3 than he did in 1 and 2. Doors plated 1 run in the first, 4 runs in the second on a Blake Dunn grand slam. Comfortable 5-run lead for the Commodores entering the top of inning number 3. We're almost an hour through this game, just the third inning.
Just stop walking people.
That will definitely add some minutes and hours to the game. Fredrickson's first pitch to Jackson Coots is swung on, poked over to Lucas Dunn at second base, who throws on to first for a uncommon quick out. 1 down.
Only the second time all ball game where a guy has swung at the first pitch and put it into play. Coots has done it, and prior to him, Weatherly was able to get Ian Fair on a 1-pitch out. Otherwise, we've seen a lot of takes because Weatherly's been a little bit wild with those couple walks in the second inning, and Fredrickson especially, a walk in the first and 3 walks in the second.
Here's Barron Radcliffe, who swings at the first pitch. It's fouled back into the screen. I'm sure the Doors have an idea of how slow the game's moving too. Maybe they're trying to pick up the pace and put some balls in play. First 2 batters here in the third swing at the first pitch. Radcliffe takes a second strike. He's down 0-2. The righty pitcher to the lefty batter, swung on and missed strike 3. It's dropped by Goodman, but he throws it on to first base, 2 down.
Quick couple outs for Fredrickson, so it's a good bounce back. That'll save Hyannis some headaches, because they were at a pace where they didn't have anybody warming up in the bullpen and seemed like they were just hanging Fredrickson out to dry, weren't really coming out to talk to him or anything like that. Seemed like it was just, hey, we're told you to get through 3 or 4, you're getting through 3 or 4 no matter what.
Another team that does that quite a bit is Brewster.
Yeah.
They have their innings that they want the pitchers to go, and they're going to it. On other teams, you might see a hook after 5 or 6 earned runs. Hyannis and Brewster, more common to let their pitchers go to sometimes 7, 8, and 9 earned runs in as few as 3 innings. Strike 1 drops at the knees to Taylor Smith. Hyannis just 3 games after this one here today. Ball outside to the catcher. Next up is the second game of the doubleheader at 6 p.m. and then a home and home against the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox to round out their season. There's a strike on the outside black. Fredrickson finding the zone well here in the third inning. Hyannis, as I mentioned, 2 doubleheaders in as many days. They used 5 pitchers across 2 games against Wareham yesterday. Swing and a miss, strike 3. 2 strikeouts for Fredrickson here in the top of the third. No runs on no hits, no errors, nobody left on base for Falmouth. Still 5-0 Doors as we head to the bottom of the third inning.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Weatherly flashes the thumbs up with his left hand to the warm-up catcher, Troy Clonch, who will mosey back to the dugout after Taylor Smith had to put his gear on. He struck out to end the top of the third inning. 9-1-2 due up for Hyannis here in the bottom of the third. First two batters in the second walked, but they were left stranded, and they are still without a hit.
Yeah, as long as Weatherly can throw some strikes, then I think the Doors will be fine. This Hyannis team seems to have no life in them. The early start has gotten to them. Struggle of a season as well. They don't seem too motivated at the plate right now.
Weatherly's first pitch to Teodosio. Pitch one of Tiger Bowl is low for a ball. Teodosio entering his senior year at Clemson, swings at the second pitch. It's fouled away past the Falmouth dugout on the first base side. He had a .215 average last year, 40 hits, 9 home runs, 33 RBIs. Third in home runs on the Clemson team, tied for third in stolen bases, as he takes a ball at about eye level. He's from Simpsonville, South Carolina, went to Malden High School. Broke his collarbone in 2018, had a very shortened season with the Tigers. He swings at another high fastball, fouls it back to make it 2-2. Number 23 ACC prospect for the 2020 draft, according to D1 Baseball. But he has struggled so far this summer as he takes a ball outside to make it a full count. 190 batting average, 3 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs.
Yeah, it's interesting. Must mean that D1 really puts a lot of value in his swing, some of his mechanics, his build, stuff like that, because his stats don't back it up from 2018 or 2019.
Payoff pitch, lofted into deep center field. Blake Dunn is back and tracking. He's at the wall, backpedaling, and he makes the catch.
Sheesh.
394 to dead center. That ball was dang close to sneaking out.
I think it was about maybe 393 off the bat from Teodosio. So Weatherly comes out with the win in Tiger Bowl #1, but Teodosio really made it close. I thought that one was out of here for sure.
And again, I think the wind probably helped that ball to get back to the track. It's blowing pretty steadily out to right center. Saw the wind help Blake Dunn on that grand slam. There's a fly ball from Jordan Westberg. Lands back by the press box. He struck out looking in the first inning, part of a 1-2-3, bottom of inning number 1. Weatherly still has yet to allow a hit, just 2 base runners on walks in the second. Ball low and in, 1-1. Now officially Weatherly's longest outing of the summer at 2 1/3. He wants to make it an even 3. 1-1, swung on and missed. Fastball right down the middle. Westberg couldn't catch up.
Looks like we got Sean Mullen warming up in the bullpen for Falmouth. Be ideal if you can go Weatherly for 3, Mullen for 3, maybe somebody else for just the 1.
Ball downstairs as Westberg readjusts his batting gloves. Going to be a junior next year with the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 2-2 is low, and another full count. Sam Weatherly has now had 6 3-ball counts. He exhales, works from the windup, throwing into the catcher Taylor Smith. Just low, ball 4. 3 walks now for Weatherly, first of the third inning. Man on first and 1 out.
After the brutal umpiring we saw yesterday, Ronaldo Cockrum is a sight for sore eyes. That was definitely a low pitch, couple inches below the knees. Great frame by Taylor Smith, and a lot of umpires might punch him out. We've seen on the Cape League that umpires really like the low zone. They usually call it strikes, but Cockrum hasn't been. He's been very consistent, and he's had a very good eye this entire ball game. That was definitely ball 4. Got to credit Westberg with watching it.
Ian Fair swung at the first pitch he saw in the first inning, flew out to center. Thought about swinging at the first pitch, but thought better of it. It's a fastball out of the zone. Ball 1. Weatherly has thrown more balls than strikes, now 25 balls to 23 strikes. Fair, the right-handed batter from Northeastern against the lefty from Clemson. Fouls back pitch number 2, 1-1. Fair released by the Harbor Hawks and then re-added from Walpole, Mass. Went to Walpole High School and batted .357 his sophomore year at Northeastern. Best batting average on the team through 73 at-bats. The 1-1 from Weatherly. High again, 2-1.
Got more balls than strikes.
Weatherly tossing the ball from his glove hand back into his left throwing hand. He's in the stretch, lifts his right leg, and delivers. Foul ball. 2-2.
Seems like the process we've been going through is Weatherly falls behind with a couple of balls, just missing the zone, responds with a pitch down the middle, maybe gets a strike call, foul ball, maybe gets it put into play. Be a lot more efficient. Things would look a lot smoother if he just got those strikes earlier in the count.
The 2-2 with Westberg on first. Popped into center field again. Longer run for Dunn. It's actually going to be Deloach who fields it in right center. 2 down.
A lot of flyouts from Hyannis so far. Except for one ground out and a few strikeouts, everything has been in the air. A couple have been driven pretty deep. We saw the Teodosio one all the way to the wall. Saw one earlier hit into right field to end the second inning. Jackson Olsen hit one pretty deep that Deloach had to track over his shoulder. They've been getting under a lot of these pitches from Weatherly, who's been keeping the ball pretty high, which makes sense why they'd be putting them into the outfield.
2 down and a runner on first base. First pitch swinging is Hunter Goodman, who grounded out to short his first time up.
Remember, fans, thanks to DJ's Famous Wings, you can keep that foul ball today.
Commodores, last time they played here at McKeon Park against the Harbor Hawks, won 2-0. That was win number 1 of an 11-game winning streak. It all started right here. The 0-1. Fouled back again, and you're right, these hitters getting under everything from Weatherly. I think he and Fredrickson both are keeping it relatively high in the zone.
Yes, absolutely, which usually is not a formula for success. We saw Fredrickson already burned by it on the Blake Dunn home run. Seen a couple deep fly balls from Hyannis so far against Weatherly, but as long as he's throwing strikes in my book, you've got a 5-run lead. One long ball isn't going to be the end of the world right now. Obviously, you're not looking for it, but so far the Harbor Hawks haven't been able to get enough power behind it, so it's been working in your favor.
He's ahead in this count after falling behind the last few batters he's faced. 0-2 to the 3-hitter Goodman. Catcher from Memphis University. Puts one in play. It's another fly ball into no man's land in shallow center. And Deloach is again going to be the one who's closer. He fields it on a fly, and that will do it for the bottom of the 3rd inning. Weatherly walks a batter, but he still hasn't allowed a hit. No runs on no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. 5-0 Doors as we head to the 4th on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Hello and welcome back to McKeon Park. Doors up 5-0 on the Harbor Hawks. Inning number 3, neither the Commodores nor the Harbor Hawks scored, as now we bring in Katie Florio on this weird schedule and weird day between these two teams. Katie.
Thanks, David. And what an unusual day it is. I asked Zach Deloach what the mentality is as far as staying in a routine for today. He said, yes, today's weird, but it's also all about having fun and staying in a groove. Zach said now that the win streak has ended, they're trying to reset and get ready for playoffs. But no matter the schedule, we've said it a million times, this team makes the most out of every single situation, and they're always having fun. Obviously off to a good start today.
Thank you, Katie. So team seems pretty unfazed by the 12 o'clock start in Hyannis and then the 6 o'clock start coming up tonight. And I feel like a common theme we're hearing in most of Katie's hits and the answers that we're getting from this team, it's all about having fun.
Yeah, that's the main mantra for all of them, because there's not as much pressure as they usually face during their school seasons. A lot of the scouts have gone away too, so you might not have as, personal intensity on yourselves, focusing on doing super well like you did maybe in earlier July. And right now when you're winning, it's easy to have fun and just go out there and play baseball like you're back in high school or middle school again.
Langworthy swings at the first pitch. It's foul down the first base line. Fredrickson still man in the rubber for Hyannis. He is up to 63 pitches. Started to get into control in the third with a 1-2-3 inning and 2 strikeouts. Second pitch to Langworthy, right side over to Dunn, who fields it on a couple hops and throws on to first. 1 down.
With that for Fredrickson, 6 straight retired.
It's pretty
Nice
good.
soft hits as well. 3 strikeouts, all of them swinging, and 3 groundouts.
And ever since that grand slam from Blake Dunn, he's been perfect.
Yeah.
Going up against Kevin Kendall, who laid down a sacrifice bunt in the second inning to move Smith over to third and Langworthy over to second. Left-handed batter from UCLA takes a pitch high. Kendall still looking for double-digit hits on the summer. He has 9 right now. Couple quick balls to start off the count from Fredrickson. Kendall swings that bat around, brings it over his left shoulder. High, deep drive into center field. Back at the wall is Teodosio, and this ball is gone. How about that for Kevin Kendall? Second home run of the summer to make it 6-0 Falmouth.
That was maybe the single best swing from Kendall I've seen all summer. Got a low pitch. It was about knee-high, fastball middle in. Drove it directly where it came from and had that beautiful swing, driving with the legs, got the hands around nice and quick, and a nice smooth uppercut that swiftly brought that ball deep into the outfield. And that, I don't even think, needed the wind. That was a pretty good drive from him. He showed off a lot of power. Doesn't have the biggest frame, only about 5'10", 170, but he's got a lot of power when he's driving the hips like that, and he did right there. It's all a matter of making contact for him. Seems like when he's making contact, he's usually being able to get solid contact at that.
Ball 1 to Hayden Cantrell. First home run of the year we saw from Kevin Kendall was out at Spillane Field in Wareham. It was the go-ahead 2-run blast to put the Commodores up in Game 2 of that doubleheader against the Gatemen last Friday. Ball drops below the knees of Cantrell, who's 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. 2-0's a fastball, outside Black, 2-1.
You know what, David? I was going to predict that I thought I was going to see a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to see it from Barron Radcliffe in particular, but this team has been hitting home runs at a more fervent pace recently. We saw a couple long balls in the big Eldridge Park a couple days ago, and they usually...
Ground ball, right side, off the glove of Ian Fair. Fields it at Lucas Dunn, but Fredrickson's late getting over to the bag. So it's an infield single for Cantrell.
Would have been a single into the outfield, but Fair's big frame able to knock it down as he gets the infield single. So all's well that ends well for Hayden Cantrell. But we've seen a lot of home runs from this team recently. After a loss last night, it seemed like they were going to bounce back, especially against the Harbor pitching staff, Harbor Hawks pitching staff that has been struggling. And they usually put up all their home runs on the road for whatever reason.
They do have a lot of home runs on the road. This is true.
Doesn't get to see a lot of long balls, but the road ballparks do. And so far we've gotten it. I don't want to predict it, though, because I seem terrible at predictions this summer.
Commodores now with an even 30 home runs. That's third on the Cape League. Ball 1's outside to Blake Dunn, who started off the day strong. Single and a run scored in the first, a grand slam in the second. 4 RBIs. on that big fly out to right. Cantrell's on first. He slides back in on the pickoff attempt. And this game does remind me of that 6-1 win against Orleans. The home runs came later in that game versus the Firebirds, but they scored 5 of their 6 runs on home runs. Same story here today. 5 of the 6 runs for Falmouth coming by way of a home run. It's the 1-0 to Blake Dunn. Hard chopper over to third base. He'll go on to second. A nice snag by Lucas Dunn, keeping his foot on the bag to get the lead runner. So Blake Dunn reaches first base on a fielder's choice.
And that stat that you read off, that Falmouth now third in the Cape League with 30 home runs, it just kind of further proof how much this team has dominated the month of July.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've been the best team on the Cape in July, having the best winning percentage, playing the least games, but getting the most victories, leading the Western Division. But I remember in June, they were dead last in home runs for quite some time, probably the first 2-3 weeks of the season, toiling around with only like 3 or 4. It was Hayden Cantrell who had all of the team's home runs for a good while.
Zach DeLoach has been a large part of the team's power in the month of July. He fouls. First pitch he sees towards Ryan Eiley, the first base coach. Hard line drive / fly ball out to right field in the first inning, strikeout in the second. He has 5 dingers on the summer. Tied for the team lead with Barron Radcliffe and Taylor Smith. Trey Cruz not far behind with 3 home runs, as does Hayden Cantrell. The 1-0 from Frederickson. Above the letters, 1-1. Zach DeLoach, one of the best hitters on the Cape with a .350 average. Improved from his last year at Texas A&M where he batted just .220. Swing and a miss on the off speed, 1-2.
DeLoach started off yesterday 0 for 2 as well, was still able to elevate the average thanks to a couple singles in his final 2 at-bats. Ended up going 2 for 4 against Bourne. Right now he's 0 for 2. Sure, he would love another couple hits, keep that average afloat, maybe catch back up to Wyatt Young, who's leading the Cape.
Wyatt Young, a temporary player from Pepperdine University on the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox, has been great. Sat on the curveball, swings at it, but it's out in front again, down the first base line. 1-2 stays the count.
Shout out the temp players. Troyani was leading the Cape.
We love that.
Slumped a little bit recently, and that's why he's fallen out of the top spot. Wyatt Young, a temporary player, leading the Cape average, and both of them are going back and forth in the first spot.
And both of them are everyday starters. Wyatt Young's the leadoff man for the Red Sox. Troyani, the everyday 3-hitter for Orleans. Nice stop by Hunter Goodman on the sharp breaking ball that DeLoach takes for a ball, 2-2.
And I think Troyani is more impressive because Wyatt Young's on the team that leads the Cape in batting average. So, you can't pitch around Young and then get to face the middle of the lineup. He's batting in the 1 hole. They've got great hitters behind him. You got to attack Wyatt Young as well. He's seeing a lot of good pitches to hit. Meanwhile, Troyani, not protected by anybody. That Orleans lineup is real poor.
2-2. Fastball to the left side past the outstretched glove of Jackson Olsen at third. Blake Dunn moves over to second. Zach DeLoach is aboard with a 2-out single.
Doors continue their fantastic 2-out hitting. Seems like it's been a constant throughout the last couple of weeks that with 2 outs, they're at their best, in the middle of the lineup especially. Zach DeLoach rarely makes the final out of innings. Trey Cruz rarely does either.
6 runs on 6 hits for the Falmouth Commodores. No runs on no hits for Hyannis. We're in the top of the 4th here of a 7-inning game. Trey Cruz is 0 for 1 today with a walk and a ground out to short. Frederickson has struggled. That ERA almost at 9, and it's still floundering today. There's a line drive straight at Teodosio out in center. It's snagged above his head. Hard contact from Trey Cruz on the first pitch, but he moves to 0 for 2. Falmouth scores 1 more run on 3 more hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. Kevin Kendall gets in on the action with a solo shot, and the Doors are up 6-0 as we head to the bottom of the 4th on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal. The 99
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Shawnee M. Shawnee Boy Mullen from the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA Bruin, steps onto the mound to relieve Sam Weatherly. And Mullen has been pretty exceptional this summer as well.
Yeah, the bullpen day continues for the Commodores. It'll be Mullen, who's so far got no record, 0-0, but a 5.40 ERA and 7 games played and 10 innings of work. Although that ERA was really only that high because of one outing. July 8th at Bourne in the 14-0 loss for the Doors. He threw a third of an inning, allowed 4 runs on 3 hits. Everything else pretty much zeros besides that.
Leading off the Harbor Hawks, the left field from Arizona State, number 10.
That was in the 14-0 blowout at the hands of the Bourne Braves back in early July. First pitch to Haver is outside. The second one is high as well. 2-0.
Now pitching for Falmouth from UCLA, number 18, Sean Mullen.
Haver reached on a walk in the second inning. He moved over to second base, but was left stranded there. And Mullen right now high in the zone. 3-0 to the cleanup man. Weatherly's first start went pretty darn well. 3 innings of work. No hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. There's a strike at the knees. 3-1. Mullen working quickly. Fellow pitcher with Nick Nastrini, also roommates here this summer. Swinging a foul ball, 3-2. Mullen was attacked by a tiger shark when he was 8 years old. One of the craziest stories we've heard from any of these doors.
Just reminded me I still got to watch Jaws while I'm here.
You do. You really do. The 3-2. Hammered into deep right center. Deloach has a long run into the gap, but it's caught by Blake Dunn. Ton of flyouts right now for the Harbor Hawks. They have gone out on 6 flyouts, 3 strikeouts, and 1 ground ball.
Yeah, well, everything's been high in the zone from Weatherly and now Mullen. Every single one of those pitches from Mullen, the balls were all above the letters, and the strikes were about belt high. So that's going to be the case. And right now, Hyannis just doesn't have the power, or I guess maybe the luck to find gaps, not the power to hit the wall or get it over the wall either.
Harbor Hawks still without a hit today. As ball 1 comes into Lucas Dunn, who also reached on a walk. Worked with nobody out in the second inning. Mullen, the righty from UCLA, delivers again high. Where's number 18 for the Commodores? Pitched just 6 1/3 during his freshman season at UCLA. Didn't allow a run, got a win. The 2-0 to Dunn. Foul ball into the screen right by us.
David, you realize this is our last time coming to McKeon Park?
Hasn't sunk in.
And this was the very first ballpark we broadcasted at on June 10th, 12th of 2018.
Full circle. Ball number 3, high and in to Dunn.
And ironically, that game was so cold. We donned our sweatshirts immediately. Yeah. It was so windy. It was a 10-4 win for Falmouth.
Yep.
This game is 85 and humid.
Ball 4, well high, can't even be squeezed by Taylor Smith, and that's a 5-pitch walk with 1 down here in the bottom of the 4th.
Yeah, Mullen just kind of flying open right now. He's not a walks guy. Only 3 walks in his 10 innings so far compared to 15 strikeouts. But right now, he looks like he's overthrowing. And Mike Landry's quickly going to talk to him because I think he noticed the same thing. The mechanics just look a little off from Sean. He might not have his head in it.
Rigsby Mosley will be up after the mound meeting. Yeah, so let's see. How many times did we come to this ballpark? We came 3 times last year and then once in the playoffs. So that's 4.
Twice in the playoffs.
Once in the playoffs.
Once in the playoffs for a game. Once we showed up and...
I was trying to think if we had any rainouts here last year. You're right. So 4 games we saw here. We made 5 trips to this park. And then this year, 3 trips for games, 1 trip that was canceled in the 4th inning.
And 1 trip, I think, before the game even got underway, if I remember correctly.
So like 9 or 10 times we've come out here?
Yeah, a lot. Frequent trips to Hyannis, but it's okay.
It's one of the better parks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it in the top 3, but it's a nice little field.
I like its location, too.
Ball high to Rigsby Mosley after the mound meeting from pitching coach Mike Landry.
A trip out to Hyannis is an excuse to go to Chick-fil-A.
Yep. The only Chick-fil-A on Cape Cod. Also, only 1 Chipotle on Cape Cod. That's at the Hyannis Mall.
Yeah, so it's always an excuse.
1-0. Deep drive into right. Right at Deloach, who fields it over his head for the second out. And another fly out. Puts 2 down with Lucas Dunn still at first.
Yeah, Deloach kind of just went side to side a couple of times, realized he didn't have to move at all. It fell right into his mitt. He was positioned perfectly. Another fly ball off the bat of a Harbor Hawk and another deep drive, but still they're putting it right at some of these outfielders.
Brooks Carlson struck out swinging his first time up in the 2nd. He takes a ball from Samford University. The only other Samford Bulldog who was on Cape Cod this summer was Sam Strickland, pitcher for the Commodores who reached an innings limit and was released in mid-July. Running, throw down from Taylor Smith, tag applied, got him. Lucas Dunn tried to steal a base, but a 2-6 putout and the tag applied on the left arm means Brooks Carlson will be up to start off the 5th inning. Sean Mullen faces the minimum despite allowing a walk, no runs on no hits, no errors, no runners left on base. Still a 6-0 lead for Falmouth on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
4 innings down, 3 to go here at McKeon Park. Falmouth in the driver's seat with a 6-0 lead, thanks to a run in the first, a grand slam in the second, and a solo shot in the 4th. Coots, Radcliffe, and Smith coming up here in the 5th inning. They went down in order in the 3rd. Fredrickson still on the mound, works a ground ball to the left side, to the right side, as Coots grounds out to Lucas Dunn for the 2nd straight at bat, 1 down here in the 5th.
Jackson Coots continues to pull the ball. He is 1 for 3 with a single into right field. His next 2 at-bats only saw a pitch in each of them, and both of them slow rollers to second base. So Jackson kind of wasting no time. He usually doesn't. He's got to have, for the amount of at-bats he's registered, one of the lowest walk numbers and strikeout totals on this entire team because he's always swinging early.
And he puts the ball in play a ton. Radcliffe is fooled by the off-speed. He swings through it. 0 for 2 today is Barron. Ground out in the 1st. Strikeout in the 3rd. Fredrickson, a nice curve ball, makes it 0-2. He's getting up there in pitch count, now over 80 pitches 47 strikes, 35 balls for the right-hander who goes to Minnesota. Fastball tried to get Barron swinging, but he didn't bite. 1-2. Radcliffe tied for the team lead in home runs with 5. Also up there in RBIs with 19. 8 of those coming in one game. Foul ball stays alive as it's back behind the bleachers on the third base side.
DJ's famous wings. You can keep that foul ball today.
Wind's still blowing out pretty heavily to right field. The 1-2 hammered towards the Falmouth bullpen, which is quiet. Sean Mullen will come out for the bottom of the 5th inning, and then perhaps a reliever in 6 and 7. Fredrickson from the windup. The 6-7 pitcher delivers to the 6-4 hitter. Thought about going around, but he holds off at the high pitch.
This is a matchup of behemoths.
Yeah, these are two big boys. Fredrickson's 2-2. At the knees, down the right field line. Fair ball. This one will get into the corner at right field. Barron Radcliffe is into second, and he will stop there, put on the brakes with a stand-up double.
Man, Barron is swinging such a good stick lately. I think it gets overshadowed by his home run totals. You know, if he's not hitting a home run, you start to think, oh, is that really the Barron that we're supposed to see? Because you think of him in solely power terms. But he's got hits in so many games now. 11 of his last 13. Had a long hitting streak that was broken a couple days ago. Bounced back with another 3-game hitting streak after that. He went 0 for 4 in Orleans a couple days ago. Now has hits in 3 straight yet again. He continues to hit really solid line drives, continues to make great contact at some tough pitches. That one as well, moving down and in, goes with it and yanks one on 2 strikes. Love to see it.
That'll do it for Fredrickson as the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and manager Chad Gassman go to the pen. We will step aside here on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network and be back right after this. Still 6-0 in the top of the 5th.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Kyle Witten, the righty from the University of Virginia, comes in to relieve Patrick Fredrickson. They go from number 34 in white to number 35. And another pitcher who has struggled for the Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, 0-2 record, a 12.51 ERA. More walks than strikeouts at 12 walks to 9 Ks and 13 2/3 innings of work. The biggest thing against him, like Fredrickson, is the hits. 21 hits in nearly 14 innings. That's tough. That's tough to see. And another thing that's tough to see, and I think this is kind of indicative of the way this is going and the way Chad Gassman sees this game finishing, is that Witten has pretty much exclusively pitched in blowouts. He's only pitched in games that the Harbor Hawks have lost, and he's only pitched in 3 games that have been decided by 2 runs or less. There's a 12-5 game he pitched in, 10-1, 6-1, 13-1. He's usually in some just, what's it called? I can't remember the word.
Losses?
No, sweeping up the gunk. I can't remember the word.
Garbage? Garbage time?
Mop up work.
Up.
He's usually in mop up work.
He'll start off his day against Taylor Smith. Barron Radcliffe stands at second after a stand-up double. Thought about swinging at the slider, but he holds off. It's 1-0. So the Harbor Hawks are 0-10 in games that Witten pitches in. And the righty from UVA has been tabbed with just 2 of those losses. Last decision was against Katuitt on the 19th of July. There's a strike on the inside part of the plate. Witten going to be a junior next year with the Cavaliers, had a 5.97 ERA and a 3-1 record his sophomore season. Last summer, he was with the Keene Swamp Bats in the NECBL. Had a 5.80 ERA and a 2-4 record. Smith again holds up on a high pitch, 2-1.
Interestingly enough, for Witten at UVA, he led the team in appearances with 27, even though he had an ERA just under 6.
Yeah.
Led the team in saves. He's used as their closer, so they seem to rely on him a lot, even if he struggled.
He was third in the ACC in saves. His dad also played baseball down at Virginia. 2-1, swung on and missed. There's a low pitch that Smith went after. 2-2. He struck out swinging his last time up in the third inning. Doors have struck out just 3 times this afternoon. And they have walked 4 times. Also 2 home runs for the away team, the 2-2. Fastball nubbed over towards short. Fielding it on a couple hops as Westberg. Quick throw over to first. 2 down, but Radcliffe advances to third base.
Yeah, great read by Barron. Saw it was a slowly moving ground ball to short. He knew that he'd be halfway down the line by the time Westberg had fielded it, so he's able to easily take another base off the ground ball, even though it was to the left side of the infield.
Austin Langworthy 0 for 1 with a walk, a run scored, and a ground out. He's got a chance to add to his RBI total with Barron Radcliffe 90 feet away, and this will do the trick. Swinging at the first pitch, and it's past the third baseman Olsen. Barron Radcliffe trots home, and it's 7-0.
Poor Jackson Olsen has seen a couple of hot shots over to his corner and hasn't been able to get his glove on either of those. That one was an absolute scorcher off the bat of Langworthy. Love that swing from him. Usually we see him pull the ball a ton. This summer he's been spraying all parts of the field and usually getting under it. This time gets on top of it, shoots a line drive.
Kevin Kendall went yard in the 4th inning. He's up again here in the 5th. Falmouth now up 7 on Hyannis. With that run scored from Barron Radcliffe, Fredrickson's line is final, and it is not a pretty one. Here's the first pitch from Witten to Kendall after a couple looks back to first. Big looping curveball for a strike. 4 1/3 innings of work for Fredrickson. 7 hits, 7 earned runs, 4 walks, and 3 Ks.
Nothing about that line is
not much.
Very impressive.
Witten now on the mound, just like Fredrickson, has a whip well over 2. Swing and a miss on the low pitch makes it 0-2.
Commodores, meanwhile, if we're talking about whip, best whip on the Cape.
We like that stat. Whip is I think, one of the best indicators of how solid your pitching staff is. I still look to strikeout to walk ratio first, but whip not soon after. Not far after, I should say. Fredrickson right now will be tabbed with his 3rd loss unless Hyannis mounts a huge comeback. Doors have their largest lead in recent memory, as many of those wins during the winning streak were extremely close. Curveball outside 1-2. 8 of their 11 wins coming consecutively were by 2 runs or less. Largest win of the winning streak was 6-1 against Orleans. Here's the 1-1 from Witten to Kendall. It'll have to wait an extra second, but finally he delivers. Ball low, 2-2. Kendall going yard means he now has 2 home runs on the year. 6 of the 9 batters in this Commodores starting lineup now have multiple home runs. The 2-1. Fastball slapped into left field. This should get down in front of Trevor Hopper, and it does. Base knock for Kevin Kendall, who moves to 2 for 3. Keeps this inning going. Runners on first and second with 2 outs.
I love that for Kevin, who's been struggling on the summer. Came to the ball game with a 150 average. Didn't even have double digits in hits. Comes into this ball game and 3 very, very successful at bats. First time he came up, had runners on first and second, no out, laid down a beauty of a sacrifice bunt to advance both of them. Then he had a solo home run, and now a single. And both of them coming with 2 strikes against him. So great 2-strike hitting from Kevin as well. The solo home run was a pull shot into the deepest part of the ballpark, right center field. And then that one, opposite field, so he's spraying both parts of the field well.
Cantrell found a gap in his third at-bat for a single. He takes a ball below the knees, and first pitch balls are pretty much a staple for the Harbor Hawks. They are getting behind pretty much every batter. Not helping themselves out. Second pitch to Cantrell, lofted into right field for a base hit. Coming in and fielding it is Rigsby Mosley. Austin Langworthy's all the way around from second, and it's 8-0 Falmouth.
Is there a mercy rule? I just don't see Hyannis coming back to this ball game. They have 9 more outs to go and 8 runs to make up.
Yeah, it's a tough day to be a Harbor Hawk. This summer's been a tough day to be a Hyannis fan.
Hayden Cantrell continues to mash. A couple more hits today after his weekend, where it's going to be the best weekend of his 2 years on the Cape. Had 6 or 7 hits on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
One hopper over towards third, fielded by Jackson Olsen. He tags Kevin Kendall on the back, who is running straight into him at third base. And that will do it here in the top of the 5th. Doors add 2 more runs on 4 more hits, no errors, and 2 runners left on base. Falmouth is up 8-0 as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal. The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape. For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Sean Mullen back on the rubber for Falmouth. Second inning of work for the righty from UCLA. He faced the minimum in the 4th inning despite allowing a walk. Worked a flyout from Trevor Hopper. Dunn reached on a walk but was caught stealing for the last out. Rigsby Mosley flew out to right field. Mullen was in the West Coast Conference last summer with the Yakima Valley Pippins.
Great name.
Had a 16.20 ERA.
He's just out of high school. He hadn't even pitched in college yet. Don't give him that. Don't put that on him.
I didn't say a word. I just read his stats. He was 2 for 8 at the plate with an RBI. Didn't really pitch that much at all. Only an inning and 2/3 with the Pippins, so that probably explains it. Here's a deep drive into right field. DeLoach is going to have to watch it sail. It's a leadoff home run from Brooks Carlson to make it 8-1.
There goes the no-hitter, too.
Home run for Brooks Carlson.
There it is, his second home run of the year for Carlson. First run and first hit of the day for Hyannis. They now trail by 7.
Just need 7 more of those. That was a no-doubter, too. I mean, the wind didn't really help that one. That was just great contact from Carlson. Often the best pitch you're going to see is the first pitch, and that's what he thought from Mullen.
Now 3 home runs combined for these two teams. Dunn with a grand slam. Kendall with a solo shot. Same as Carlson. Strike 1 to Olsen. Mullen quickly working as he fires a second strike. It's a foul ball back into the screen, 0-2.
So far, everyone has swung. Carlson swung at the one pitch. Olsen now at these 2. So clearly Mullen is throwing strikes, and they're good enough.
Olsen flew out to right field his first time up. There's a curveball that sails well outside, 1-2. Ball spiked in the dirt. 2-2. Defensive substitution. Tim Tawa over at second base now, I believe.
That is Tim, yeah.
For
Good
Hayden
catch.
Cantrell. Ground ball his way. High hop, and it gets over him into right field. What a bad bounce. It hit the edge of the inner grass and skied right over Tim Tawa at second. It's a infield to outfield single for Jackson Olsen.
Yeah, none of this game is just making any sense right now. That was a easy ground ball. Tawa did everything right. All of a sudden hits the lip in the grass, and it shot like 16 feet in the air. He jumped up, and it still cleared his head. That's how high that thing went. Somehow hit, almost like it hit a trampoline hidden in the middle of the infield.
Bryce Teodosio swings at the first pitch he sees, hammered down the right field line and fair in front of Zach DeLoach. Stopping at second base is Olsen. Now 3 hits for hitters 7, 8, and 9 to start off the 5th inning.
Bottom of the order getting to Mullen, but honestly only the first hit was deserved. Carlson with the home run. After that, Olsen probably should have grounded out, and Teodosio's hit a little blooper into right field. Just found the right spot for it. DeLoach not playing close enough to catch up.
I thought that was a good piece of hitting.
It was a good piece of hitting, but it wasn't hard contact.
Right.
It was
That's
a
fair.
soft bloop.
Found a gap. A banjo, as the Commodores would call it.
Yeah, good swing, but not great contact.
Jordan Westberg's 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk. He swings at the first pitch, too, and this is a deep drive into left field. Langworthy has no chance, and this ball's gone. 3-run blast for Jordan Westberg, and the Harbor Hawks are all of a sudden just down by 4. It's 8-4.
Yeah, they've cut the lead in half on only a couple of swings. Pretty much every ball has been swung at in this inning, and all of them have gone for hits almost. A couple of swings and misses, but you don't remember that when everybody has gotten on base and everybody has scored, as now it's all of a sudden a ball game again. 8-0 entering this inning, only 9 outs to go for Falmouth to get, and Sean Mullen just can't quite get these outs. He's leaving too many pitches far over the plate, and against some great hitters. I mean, Jordan Westberg, you can't leave that pitch over to him. He's so good.
It was a deep drive over the fence in left field, and now 2 home runs in the 5th inning for Hyannis. First pitch to Ian Fair as well outside. Brooks Carlson started off the inning with a solo shot. Olsen and Teodosio singled, and Westberg with a 3-run bomb. There's a fastball foul tipped into the mitt. 1-1. Christian Edwards getting loose for Falmouth, but we know Mike Landry and the Falmouth Commodores don't want to go to him until the 6th. Nice curveball for a strike, 1-2. Four runs on 4 hits, all coming in this 5th inning for Hyannis. The 1-2 to Fair. Low, just a hair off of the plate.
It looks like Mullen has made the adjustment. He's not throwing as many meatballs. He's starting to hit his spots a little bit more and be a little bit more picky.
Here's the 2-2. Curveball hammered into deep left field, and this ball is gone.
What?
3 home runs for Hyannis here in the bottom of the 5th. It's 8-5.
Everything is just zooming out of this ballpark. What happened here? This isn't a small ballpark by any stretch. It's, you know, pretty moderately sized, and just every single piece of contact we're seeing is flying well over the fence.
Mullen's getting shelled. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, 3 home runs in the inning alone. All of them no doubters.
Back-to-back batters, too, with Westberg and Fair. Here's a deep drive to center field. Blake Dunn is at the wall, and he makes the catch. Oh, my goodness. That ball nearly snuck out. It would have been 3 straight home runs for Hyannis.
Well, you know what? Sam Weatherly was getting a ton of flyouts, and Hyannis was getting just a little bit underneath the baseball, unable to put it over the fence. In this inning, seems like they're putting on these same exact swings, but they're getting a little bit more level, getting a little bit more power, maybe a little bit more exit velocity as well. Mullen throws a little bit harder than Sam, and these are starting to sneak out.
They've hammered some of these balls, too.
Yeah.
Hauber with a big swing. He wanted a home run of his own. Just gets a piece off the end of the bat, 0-1. Hyannis last night against Wareham had 2 home runs in the same inning. That was in the 6th to tie the game 3-3. Those dingers coming with just 3 batters, or 3 batters apart, I should say. 5 batters have come to the plate. 6 batters have come to the plate here in the bottom of the 5th. 3 of them have homered.
That's what we see from Mullen is when he has a bad outing, it usually is very bad and comes in a big fell swoop as a ball misses outside. It's not like he lets up a couple runs across a couple outings. No, he's usually putting up zeros, and then he'll have one egg that he lays. We saw it against Bourne where he let up a grand slam, couldn't get out of a third of an inning, and this inning as well.
2-1, high drive into left field. Langworthy has a read on it. He's in front of the wall, and he makes the catch. But right now, Commodores fans holding their breaths with every ball that's put in play.
And all of them have been deep drives to the outfield, just like it was in the first couple of innings. Hyannis putting great swings on, a lot of uppercuts. So far, a lot of home runs, but more flyouts, luckily, for the Doors.
Two down for Lucas Dunn. First pitch strike. Dunn 0 for 0 with 2 walks. He was caught stealing to end the 4th inning. Hyannis coming on strong here in the bottom of the 5th. 5 runs on 5 hits, 3 home runs. Foul tipped past the mitt of Smith, 0-2. And again, looks like Falmouth will ride him out for this final out and hope that they can go to Edwards in the 6th. Curveball poked in play down the right field line. Coots has a read on it, but can't make the catch. Tim Tawa can't either. It's a foul ball off of his glove. Zabili, the first base ump, making a good call, saying that that is foul, but could have been out number 3.
And looked like Tim got a little too nonchalant with the baseball as he was ranging over, called off Coots. Everything was as planned. Started trotting in, took his eyes a little bit off the ball. He was going for one of those kind of glove perched at the shoulder, going to catch it, going to trot back into the dugout, waste no time. Instead, takes his eyes off the ball at the last second and ricochets right off the tip of the glove.
The 0-2 from the Bruin to the Cardinals. Smith sets up outside, and he hits his spot. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Tough inning for Sean Mullen as he gives up 5 runs on 5 hits, no errors, no runners left on base, and 3 home runs. A solo shot from Carlson, a 3-run shot from Westberg, a solo shot from Fair, but Falmouth still with the 3-run lead. We'll head to the top of the 6th on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Welcome back on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. Doors on top of the Harbor Hawks 8-5. Danny, I'm revved up. I'm ready to go. My gas tank is full. Take me around the Cape League.
Well, first we're going to start at McKeon Park in Hyannis. It's the Falmouth Commodores on top of the Harbor Hawks 8-5 in the top of the 6th. And that's the only game going on right now because it's a Monday at 1:48 p.m.
That was anticlimactic. I was ready for a big road trip.
Well, you can go out to YD at 4:45 or Brewster at 5. Or go Fuller Field at 6. Wareham at 6:45, Chatham at 7. It's a Monday, David.
It is a Monday.
And it's 1:48.
It's 1:48, and we are in the 6th inning here at McKeon Park. 3-run lead for the Doors as they give up 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning, still trying to lock up their 3rd win of the summer against Hyannis. A rematch of the Western Division semifinal last year. Zach Deloach starts off the top of the 6th with a foul ball on the pitch from Kyle Witten. Witten delivers the 0-1. It's a curveball spiked well in front of the plate. Witten from, I'm going to screw this one up, Manassas, Virginia.
Manassas.
Manassas. Watch your mouth. Went to school in-state. Went to Osborne Park High School. There's a nice curveball. Drops in for a strike 1 and 2.
He's a Virginia Cavalier. They've struggled the last couple of years after winning the national championship in 2015. Back-to-back back-to-back non-appearances in the regionals.
Yeah, they've been middle of the pack in the ACC the past few years. The 1-2. Hammered out to left for Haver, but he gets under it and makes the catch. Kind of surprising, starting to lose some momentum recruiting as well.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a good team next year, though. They've got some freshmen and sophomores on that side who are growing. They were looking good this year, just didn't have enough. They didn't have too many upperclassmen, and put together another mediocre year. But next year, I'm sure that they'll be a definite force in the ACC.
Cruz watches a Ephus well high and outside for the easiest ball one he's taken all summer. ACC is going to be fun to watch next year.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to have the usual suspects. You know, your Louisville, Florida State you could throw up there, strike down the middle.
Yeah, Florida State had an off year this year and then turned it on in the postseason. Was a tale of two seasons for them, and they've still got the talent.
And then North Carolina.
North Carolina always good. Aaron Sabato is going to be a year older and just probably better.
Ball number 2 downstairs. But then you got those teams that were, you know, upper third to middle of the pack who I think are going to be a lot better next year. First and foremost is Miami. I think they're going to be insane.
Miami projected by Baseball America to be one of the top 8 teams going to Omaha next year.
They firmly believe that. 2-1 is a hard hit ground ball to the right side. Past Lucas Dunn, and a single for Trey Cruz moves him to 1 for 3. But Virginia's another team.
Yep.
And I don't think Notre Dame will be maybe an NCAA team next year, but I like the hire with Link Jarrett, and they have some potential with some of their guys in the Cape Cod League who have done really well this summer, Nico Cavadas and Joe Boyle.
Yeah, they've got some talent. If they can get hot against the right teams, depending on their strength of schedule, they can definitely make things interesting.
I think Notre Dame, they're probably a few years behind some of those other teams who are going to be making that push to the NCAA regionals, super regionals. But if Jarrett can get the recruiting going, I think that'd be a good sign. Foul ball back into the screen.
Sleeper is Boston College. They just built a beautiful new baseball facility, $2 million to attract some recruits. There's a lot of talent here in the Northeast. We see UConn benefiting from it. Central Connecticut State, they were a 3 seed in the regionals this past year. So if they can start tapping into some of those pipelines that UConn has and maybe steal some of those recruits, and they've got a lot of talent on the Cape as well.
0-1 hammered back into the screen again. 0-2 to Jackson Coots, who is 1 for 3 today with a single and 2 groundouts to second base. The new athletic facility you mentioned, named in honor of John Harrington, grandfather of Sean Harrington, Babson Beaver, D3 catcher who is a temporary player here in Falmouth this summer, whose younger brother committed to BC.
Look at that.
There's a curveball at the eyes of Coots, 1-2.
The Falmouth connection.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm excited for the ACC next year, though. It should be fun.
Oh, me too.
And I know I've said it before, but I loved Louisville this season. I mean, they were awesome to watch.
I think everybody knew that they were going to Omaha from February on.
The 1-2 is watched for strike 3 at the knees. Coots pauses an extra second in the box and finally walks back. He doesn't strike out a lot. It's his first K of the afternoon.
That was a close pitch. It was a fastball, just barely clipped the outside edge of the plate. Jackson couldn't get the bat off the shoulder. Can't blame him. That was a really sharp pitch. Witten hit his spot.
2 down. Man on first is Trey Cruz. Man at the plate, Barron Radcliffe. Stand-up double in the 5th. He also scored a run. Those 2 runs in the 5th inning may be more important than we thought at the time. They give Falmouth what is now a 3-run cushion. Takes strike 1 at the knees after Sean Mullen gave up 3 home runs and 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty big situation for Christian Edwards, who's warming up and looks all stretched out in the bullpen. He's going to have to get a 6-out save at this point.
Diving back is Trey Cruz safely. Nice tag applied by Fair, but not in time. Commodores still first in the Cape League in stolen bases. Have not stolen a base yet today. 0-1 the count to Barron Radcliffe. As a ball ducks below the knees. What do you think about Georgia Tech next year?
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even talk about them. They were a top 5 team for a lot of this
They
season.
were a national seed. They've got a ton of talent. They did have a lot of juniors, though, who left.
Yeah.
That's the thing is you look at a team like Miami, who reason they're projected is because they put together their year with all sophomores.
Right.
Did not have one senior on that squad, and only a couple of upperclassmen in general, only 2 or 3 juniors, and those guys were all pitchers.
1-1 is right at the knees, 1-2.
So Georgia Tech lost a lot of their talent. A couple of guys going in the top 10 rounds, and we'll see if they have the recruits coming out of high school to help bolster that squad that put together a great 2019
Not
campaign.
nearly as many Yellow Jackets on the Cape this summer as
Right.
last summer, as the curveball is low.
And that's, honestly, you know, we might be biased towards the Cape League, but that's kind of how you know when a team's going to be pretty solid. Is that last year we saw a ton of Yellow Jackets, and they were coming off of a pretty brutal year. They weren't that great in 2018, but then it showed in 2019 that those guys got a year older and they were that much better. And I think the same goes for Notre Dame, like you were saying. Didn't see many last year, seeing a lot more this year.
Arizona State's another one that comes to mind. They have a ton of players who've been on the Cape the last couple of years, and they were great in the Pac-12 this year.
Yeah.
Maybe even disappointed towards the end of the season after a couple tough losses to Southern Miss. Ball taken high and away, 3-2.
Arizona State's an interesting school because they have such good offense. I mean, you look at guys like Hunter
Unbelievable.
Bishop, who is
Spencer Torkelson.
Spencer Torkelson, who's probably going to be a top 5 overall pick next year. Hunter Bishop was a top 10 pick. Trevor Hauver on this Hyannis team raked. It's just their pitching is non-existent. And you look at it again, the Cape League rosters, there's only like 1 or 2 Arizona State Sun Devils who toe the rubber.
Coyd Vanderboy and Blake Brazell are the only ones I can think of. Trey Cruz is stealing, but it won't matter as ball 4 is at the plate to Barron Radcliffe. Now 2 on and 2 out.
You mixed it up. It's Boyd Vanderkoy.
Did I?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Coyd Vanderboy.
Equally absurd. In my book. Coyd Vanderboy was on. Did I do it again, or is that right?
You did it again.
Boyd Vanderkoy.
Yeah.
Okay. He was on YD, correct?
Yes, he was.
And Blake Brazell is on Bourne.
Uh-huh.
Those are the only 2 Arizona State pitchers I can think of, and they weren't too special.
Boyd definitely struggled.
Yeah, Blake Brazell got slapped around a little bit too. Toeing the rubber now for Hyannis is still Kyle Witten from Virginia. That's how we got on this whole ACC tangent. As ball 1 is taken from Taylor Smith. He walked and scored in the 2nd, struck out in the 3rd, grounded out to shortstop in the 5th. Remember, 7-inning ball games here with the doubleheader. The 1-0. Hits him on the shoulder. Taylor Smith spikes his bat back towards the dugout, and he'll trot over to first. Now bases juiced for Austin Langworthy.
I think Taylor was frustrated. It's been a little while since he's hit a home run. He's used to hitting them about every 10 at-bats. Had 5 home runs in like his first 10 games played or something. And he's seeing all the home runs that are getting hit today. He sees the wind is still blowing out to center field. He wants to put the Doors ahead by a ton with a blast. Instead, he gets a hit. He gets hit by a pitch, that just goes right on his shoulder. Had no chance to even get out of the way.
Mound meeting with the pitching coach for Hyannis, catcher Hunter Goodman, and the pitcher Kyle Witten. Pitching coach Ray Korn, high school baseball coach at Elizabeth out in New Jersey. Was there for 30 years from 79 to 2009. That was one of the best high school baseball teams in the country when he was there. He's coached 20 MLBers, including Darryl Strawberry, Tony Clark. But his staff here in Hyannis has struggled this season, to say the least. And we were talking about it a little bit before the game. Their offensive talent is by no means lacking. It's just the pitching here in Hyannis that's been their problem.
You're not going to win many ball games when your team ERA is hovering around 7 all summer long.
Here's Austin Langworthy with the bases loaded. Watches a first pitch curveball tag the outside corner. 0-1. Langworthy singled and scored in the 5th, grounded out in the 4th, walked and scored in the 2nd. One of 2 Commodores with 2 runs scored today. He and Blake Dunn have a pair of runs. Witten from the stretch. Cruz on 3rd, Radcliffe on 2nd, Smith on 1st. There's a foul ball snagged by the on-deck man Kevin Kendall, and it's 0-2 to Langworthy. Langworthy trying to avoid a strikeout here, but something he's done well recently is not go down striking out.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen him get K'd up. I think 5 or 6 games at this point, and he was a guy who, the first third of the season, third of his at-bats were strikeouts.
1-2 is sailed. Nice stop by Goodman behind the plate to keep Cruz at 3rd. Another pitcher warming up for Hyannis. It's Drabeck from Kent State. Commodores have seen him a couple times. Witten agrees on the sign from Goodman. Looks down and back to Smith, kicks and delivers. And that's a ball low. Witten was heading back towards the dugout. It's 2-2.
I'm feeling a Langworthy home run. It's got to come at some point.
I was thinking it when he got up to the plate. I was like,
this seems like the day.
2 doubles on the summer and an RBI. The 2-2. Curveball, high and away, 3-2.
With the amount of balls that have been thrown by Witten way out of the zone, and now it's 3-2, you've got nowhere to put Langworthy with the bases loaded. Got to come over the middle of the plate. With all the home runs we've seen and the wind still howling out to right center field, Langworthy, who's due for a dinger, all the cards are in his favor.
I think it's going to be ball 4 here.
That'd be good enough.
Payoff pitch from Witten. Here it is, and it's down in the dirt for ball 4. Run will score in Trey Cruz, and now it's 9-5 Falmouth.
Again, that's good enough. Gets Langworthy his 3rd RBI of the summer, puts the Doors ahead 4. A little bit more of a cushion for Christian Edwards come the 6th inning. And the bases are still loaded, so Kendall now with a chance to drive some home.
Now 2 separate innings in which Hyannis has issued 3 free passes. 3 walks from Frederickson in the 2nd before the Blake Dunn grand slam. 2 outs in the first 3 batters that Witten faced with a single from Cruz, and then Radcliffe is walked, Smith hit by a pitch, Langworthy walked. First pitch way outside to Kevin Kendall, 1-0.
I don't know what's happened with Witten, as he's just missing the strike zone by a ton right now. He didn't really throw any balls his first time through the order in the 5th inning. He was letting up a lot of hits because he's throwing too many strikes.
Righty pitcher against the lefty hitter. Second pitch hammered into center field, but it's right at Teodosio, who makes the catch right in front of his face. Doors leave the bases loaded, but they get 1 more run on 1 more hit. No errors and 3 left on base. It's 9-5 Falmouth, and Christian Edwards will jog out for the 6th inning. We'll be back.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Bottom of the 6th, the Commodores have 6 outs to go before they hope to get win number 25 on the summer. And out trying to get those 6 outs is Christian Edwards from Jacksonville State.
Yeah, the newest addition to this team will be getting his 2nd appearance, and this one a little bit more of cushion than he had his first time out. First time out was against the Orleans Firebirds. Through 2 innings of work, didn't allow a hit, only walked 1, struck out 3, faced 7 batters, in a 2-1 victory for the Commodores. So that was a extremely important debut for him. He was able to get the job done, and now he's got a little bit more of a cushion, like I mentioned, a 4-run lead, but 6 outs to get in a ball game that has seen home runs galore. So just got to be careful with this part of the lineup. They got it going in the 5th inning, and you want to quiet them down. Don't let them pick up any more momentum.
He wears Sam Strickland's old number, who was here until mid-July. As my partner mentioned, 1 appearance this summer, and he looked pretty good. He will go up against Rigsby Mosley, Brooks Carlson, and Jackson Olsen here in the 6th. Hyannis scoring all 5 of their runs in the 5th inning on 3 separate home runs. Edwards, the lefty, delivers a first pitch strike that swung through. Beautiful pitch to start it off. Edwards, a 4.99 ERA during his sophomore year with the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Pitches from the stretch, even with nobody on. There's another fastball high and outside.
I always wonder with those guys who pitch from the stretch, just instinctively, how do you generate enough speed and velocity to get your fastball into the 90s when you're not winding up and really rearing back with your legs?
Here's the 1-1. Looks like he took some off of it. It's high and outside again, 2-1. Edwards, a local of Hartselle, Alabama, went to Hartselle High School. 7 of his outings during his sophomore year, he had 3 strikeouts or more. He's a strikeout pitcher. And strike number 2 is fanned on by Rigsby Mosley. 47 Ks last year to just 23 walks, had 7 saves. He was the closer. Here's the 2-2 to the left-handed batter, Mosley. Fastball swung on and missed, strike 3. Edwards looking sharp as ever. He starts out his outing with a strikeout.
Love that approach, kept everything outside. Couple of fastballs that he caps off the at-bat with after coming at him with a couple of off-speed pitches that look a lot like the heater, but he takes a little bit off of it just to keep things off balance for Mosley. Edwards looking really good with his first couple of pitches.
First pitch curveball drops in for a strike to Brooks Carlson, who started off the home run parade in the bottom of the 5th. He had a solo shot to right center field. Westberg, 3 batters after him. Fair, 1 batter after Westberg. There's a fastball. Goes off the end of the catcher's mitt, but behind Taylor Smith, 1-1. It was Carlson's 2nd home run of the summer, moved him to 1 for 2 on the day. Edwards delivers right down the middle, 1-2. Pitched a huge couple innings against Orleans in a 1-run win. Only pitcher who gave up a run in that game was Caleb Worster, and he worked out of a huge jam. The 1-2 curveball breaks a little bit too soon, 2-2. Falmouth with a 4-run lead on Hyannis. The lead was up to 8 at one point. It was 8-0 Doors. There's the fastball, swung on a miss, strike 3. 2 up, 2 down, 2 swinging Ks for Christian Edwards.
I don't know what it is about this fastball. I mean, it doesn't have the velocity like a Zach Brixey, doesn't have the movement like a Carmen Majinski. Seems straight from point A to point B, and he's threw that one right down the middle, but Carlson, for whatever reason, couldn't come around quick enough on it.
Jackson Olsen 1 for 2 as well. He singled in the 5th inning. Came around to score on the Westberg 3-run blast. Just gets a piece of the high fastball, 0-1. Mullen, 2 innings of relief, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. Weatherly started off this game with a scoreless 3 innings of work. It did not allow a hit and just 3 base runners, all on walks. There's off speed, which stays high and outside. Olson going to be a senior next year at Hartford. Takes a ball low. Edwards said something to himself after that pitch was called a ball.
He's just missing by a little bit.
He's fired 13 pitches now, 7 strikes, 6 balls. Here's pitch 14. Wagged foul. 2-2. Olson, a .309 average during his junior year at Hartford. 60 hits, 12 doubles. He's a New England kid as well from New Milford, Connecticut. The 2-2. Curveball swung on and missed, strike 3. What a great inning from Christian Edwards. 1-2-3 with 3 Ks. And that'll help after a 5 spot in the bottom of the 5th. Still 9-5 doors as we head to the final inning on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal. The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Hyannis Harborhawks are going to stick with Kyle Witten here in the 7th inning. Last licks for the Doors. No more extra inning games on the summer because of this insane schedule that a lot of teams have in the last week. Handful of doubleheaders for these teams. Hyannis with their second doubleheader in as many games. The Commodores with 3 doubleheaders in 5 days. Tawa came in for Cantrell, so he's due up here at the leadoff spot in the 7th. Following him, Blake Dunn and Zach Deloach. Witten from the windup delivers a fastball inside. Commodores with 11 hits and 9 runs. Hyannis with 5 hits and 5 runs. Neither team with an error yet in this game. There's another fastball. Low. 2-0. About 2 hours and 15 minutes since we started this game number 1, and we'll do it all again back at Falmouth at 6 o'clock. Line drive goes off the glove of Jackson Olson into foul territory. Long run for Trevor Hopper as Tim Tawa is in with a stand-up double.
How's that going to be scored? Single and then a single?
It's a hit.
Definitely a hit, yeah.
Definitely a hit.
Single or double, because that was a weird one.
Yeah.
Like you said, off the glove. It was a tough backhanded scoop for the third baseman Olson, so can't blame him on that. And then it just kind of rolled into no man's land, and it was enough of a ricochet that, like you said, Hopper couldn't get to it in time, and it had to be the shortstop Westberg coming all the way over from his position.
It's ruled a double. Second 2-bagger of the day for the Commodores. Baron Radcliffe had one with 1 out in the 5th. Strike 1 comes in to Blake Dunn, who's had a good night himself. And by good night, I mean good early afternoon. Singled and scored in the 1st. Grand slam in the 2nd. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th. Grounded out in the 5th. Second pitch is another strike, this time on the outside half of the plate. Not often you see guys getting 5 at-bats in a 7-inning game, but Commodores are doing it here in Game 1 of this doubleheader. On deck, Zach Deloach, who has a single. Nice stop by Goodman to keep it in front of him on the ball that hops in front of the plate.
All these at-bats, all these runs scored, all the walks, part of the reason why we've got a 2-hour, 15-minute game on our hands. And if this was a 9-inning game, it'd be on pace for like, what, 3.5?
About 3, yeah, a little over. I'd say most games on the Cape go, what, about 2 hours, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
2.5. Quickest are usually just under 2 hours. Longest are not much more than 3 hours, 15 minutes. Check swing. And he bunts that one foul. 1-2 the count to Blake Dunn. 227 average on the summer. Got his second home run in just about a week. Back in the second inning. Went off the scoreboard out above right field. That new scoreboard put in during the offseason last year. Swing and a miss, strike 3. High cheese that Dunn goes after. 1 down here in the 7th.
The right fielder from Texas A&M, number 9, Seth Deloche.
The Judy Walden Scarifial field. That's what it reads on the scoreboard out and right in that bright orange font with the Hyannis logo right over the middle.
At McKeon Park.
At McKeon Park, don't forget that.
Because everything has to have prepositional phrases up the wazoo.
Falmouth, Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field. The Eric Palmer press box in Pat's loft, or is that just a nickname? Ball 1 in the dirt to Zach Deloche. Hyannis, a multi-million-dollar renovation on their field between 2018 and 2019. But the field will not be getting as much use as they want, as this team will not be playing in the playoffs come Saturday. Second pitch down the first base line, snagged by Ryan Eiley, 1-1. Tim Tawa will slowly mosey back to second base. Wind still whipping here in Hyannis. Strong gusts out to right field. That's led to some of these home runs. Commodores with 2 long bombs, Hyannis with 3. But Falmouth with a 4-run lead. Check swing. Peel down to third. He did not go around. 2 balls and a strike. Mid-afternoon sun beating down on us here at McKeon Park. Thank goodness we found this stray umbrella.
It's waiting for us to bring it up.
Danny and I have been alternating who has been holding this umbrella to shield our computers and shield our skin.
It's a big white golf umbrella. It does a great job of blocking out
It's
the
a
sun.
fantastic umbrella. I'm not a big umbrella guy. This is a great umbrella. Ball 3 outside.
Well, it helps with the sun.
It really does.
It wouldn't be helping if it was raining right now.
True.
But with the sun giving us enough shade, we both were dumb and wore pants. I hate these double headers. I need time to do laundry. I need time to watch Jaws. Double headers cover.
Both 7-inning games, but this one's moved at a snail's pace. Now about 2 hours and 20 minutes. There's ball 4. Just below the knees. Late call from Ronaldo Cockrum. Puts runners on second and first with 1 out.
Yeah, Deloche was preparing for himself to get punched out, but did a little spin around in the box and then lifted the bat towards the dugout. And again, that was a ball. Good call by Cockrum. I think Deloche was just expecting maybe to get punched out because it's happened before where those low pitches with 2 strikes, umpires can get a little bit too quick at the gun and call it out.
Trey Cruz singled and scored his last time up in the 6th inning. It was the 9th run of the afternoon for Falmouth. Jackson Coots on deck. He's 1 for 4. There's a strike at the knees. Cruz's family in town. Jose Cruz, his father, played at Rice as well. His grandfather played 19 years in the MLB. His uncle played down at Rice as well, and his brother is on the team as well. Line drive just foul over the first base bag. 0-2. Trey Cruz's father's in town, as is his brother. Native of Houston, Texas. He's drafted in the 35th round by the Astros out of high school. Drafted again this year. He was a draft-eligible rising junior. There's a ball high, 1-2.
He's from all over. If you've never seen the cleats that he's sporting.
True.
Writes Toronto in big silver Sharpie on it. Has a drawing of the Toronto skyline. Has the 6 written on the other side of it. He was born in Toronto and lived there for the first about half decade of his life.
1-2 is a curveball that he sits on and just gets a piece. He wanted to kill that thing, but he just makes contact and stays alive.
Said it before, but he was killing baseballs yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Great swings on, and his dad was behind home plate taking video, talking with all the scouts, and really got a show from his son.
Cruz went yard yesterday against Bourne. Deep home run over the right field fence. Doors came up on the losing end 5-3. There's a swing and a hard hit foul ball. And something I was going to talk about earlier. I know that this might sound like a silver lining and me just putting a positive spin on it. I think yesterday was a good time for the Commodores to lose. Because, in my opinion, I think the longer the win streak gets coming into the final 5 games, especially if you sweep Bourne 3 games in a row and then play them in the first round of the playoffs, I'd rather get a loss out of the way against Bourne.
Law of averages type thing.
Right. The 1-2, strike 3 at the knees. Trey Cruz looks back in disgust and then heads back to the dugout. Second strikeout victim here in the 7th. Still 2 on in the top of the 7th inning.
Yeah, that stare poured through the soul of Ronaldo Cockrum. It was a good pitch. I liked it. Maybe thought it was a little bit low, but it was probably too close to take with 2 strikes.
That's why a team like Wareham still scares me in the playoffs. You're 5-0 against the Gatemen. They're probably going to beat you at least once. It's tough to beat a team 7 times in a row. Coots swings at the first pitch. It's out into right field. Probably going to be a fair ball. Shielding the sun with his other hand is Rigsby Mosley before coming down with out number 3. Doors leave a couple stranded here in the 7th inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 2 left on base. As we head to the final frame. Bottom of the 7th inning coming up. Christian Edwards heading back out to the mound. Still 9-5 Doors.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal. The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape.
Christian Edwards struck out the side in the bottom of the 6th. He'll face 9-1-2 here in the 7th. Hyannis needs 4 runs at least. They need 4 runs to tie, 5 runs to win. Looking to avoid another loss. They are 1-8-1 in their last 10. They are 1-15-1 in their last 17.
There's no way around it. They've been brutal. Not many silver linings in this season for Hyannis.
This will be their last couple games against the West Division. With this game and then the 6 o'clock game against the Commodores. That'll wrap out their Western Division matchups as the curveball is swung on by Teodosio, fielded on 2 hops, and lofted over to first base by Trey Cruz, 1 down.
Nice quick out in the 7th inning for Edwards. Saw him strike out the side in the 6th, gets 1 pitch and 1 out in the 7th. Probably been the most efficient pitcher for the Doors on the Cape. We often see guys when they first arrive at the Cape, especially late in the season, might struggle a little bit, show a few jitters. not hit the strike zone as much as they would like before they settle down after a couple of outings, but he has been great from the start.
Westberg had a 3-run blast on the first pitch he saw in his last at-bat. That was in the 5th inning off Sean Mullen. Swings at the first pitch from Christian Edwards and pokes it foul. Westberg 1 for 2. Strikeout, walk, and home run. He and Rowdy Jordan, 2 Mississippi State Bulldogs, added to this team after their run in Omaha. Second pitch, curveball, and it's up the middle into center field for a base hit. Blake Dunn moves over and fields it, throws into Tim Tawa, so Westberg will stop at first base. A 1-out single.
Bet Hyannis wish they had Westberg for the start of the season.
Yeah.
He's been red hot, now batting over .330, improves to 2 for 3 today, has reached bases last 3 times up with a walk, the 3-run home run, and now a single. Remember, he started the season at a ridiculous pace. His very first week on the Cape, he won Cape Cod League Player of the Week. Cooled off a little bit after that, but he's been great against the Commodores, and now I think 3 games played.
Big swing and a miss from Ian Fair on the fastball on the outside part of the plate. It's the first hit Edwards has allowed in his outing. Retired the first 4 batters he faced with 3 strikeouts and a ground out. He'll look back to Westberg at first, settle in the stretch with the glove at the belt. Lifts and delivers. Another fastball. Just nicked back into the screen. 0-2. To finish up my point on Hyannis versus the West Division, though, 5-15-2 versus Wareham, Katuitt, Bourne, and Falmouth. That means they are just 2-16, excuse me, against the East. The 0-2 from Edwards. Fastball low and in.
They have defeated Harwich, and they have defeated Orleans in the Eastern Division. 7-2 against the Mariners, 2-0 against the Firebirds. So when their pitching was good, they got those wins. They have not really won too many slugfests.
Swept by the Chatham Anglers, swept by the Brewster Whitecaps. They still have 2 more chances to get a couple of wins against YD. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Foul tipped into the mitt, and Ian Fair goes down a strikeout victim now. 4 Ks for Edwards.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but with 1 out to go and 4 runs to make up for Hyannis, seems like it's another slugfest that they're going to drop. So that pitching, when it's not on and their hitting is, it seems like it's still outweighing the positives of their bats.
Edwards wastes no time to go right after Hunter Goodman. A fastball right down the middle, swung on and missed. 0-1. Edwards with that throwing hand loose. Now he brings it into his glove. Exhales, looks into his peripherals to see Westberg at first, and then delivers. Same pitch, same result. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
He might have taken a little bit off of it, got Hunter Goodman to swing well ahead of it, out of his shoes as well, lost his balance on the follow-through. Goodman, a great hitter, leads the team in RBIs, but he's 0 for 3 today, and he's looking at 0 for 4.
2 flyouts and a ground out for the catcher from Memphis. Trying to keep this game going for Hyannis. The 0-2. Foul tipped into the mitt, strike 3. Edwards is all smiles. He faces 1 over the minimum, strikes out 5, works a ground out, gives up 1 single. And Falmouth back to their winning ways. They have won 12 of their last 13. Move to 3-1-1 against Hyannis and win this game 9-5. Danny, let's start with the bats. They came on and poured on with an 8-0 lead, and they just looked really good in those first 5 innings.
Yeah, this was a great matchup coming off of a loss for the Commodores because the Harbor Hawks have been struggling like we've been harping on all game long. Pat Fredrickson had an 8+ ERA on the summer, and that helps out Falmouth as immediately getting on the board with a run in the first inning, pouring on a grand slam in the second, and at that point, that's pretty much all they needed to do. Ended up giving up 5 runs to Hyannis, winning 9-5. But those 5 runs in the first 2 innings really put the Harbor Hawks behind by a lot, and they weren't able to ever get anything going. Weren't able to get too much momentum, save for that 1/5 inning where they put up 5 runs on 5 hits and 3 home runs. At that point, they were down 8. I mean, you're putting yourself in such a deep hole that no matter how good your inning is, you're still going to be behind at the end of the day.
And how about the pitching? Sean Mullen faltered, but Sam Weatherly didn't give up a hit in 3 innings of work, and Edwards strikes out 5.
Yeah, I'm still very impressed by the pitching. Is that Weatherly? We were wondering, is his first start going to show some shades of stopping? You know, he's so used to coming out of the bullpen. Maybe a little bit of a breakup in his familiarity. You know, when he's coming onto the mound, didn't look like that. Again, like you said, didn't allow any hits and only walked a couple. And Christian Edwards continues to be brilliant out of the bullpen in now 2 appearances. He's worked 2 innings. In each of them has only let up 1 hit on his summer so far and has faced 2 over the minimum. His strikeout numbers continue to be unreal. He's carrying that over from his spring season.
Manic Monday has played now 17 times. That's the lost song for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, sung by the Bengals, and it will ring out again before their last game here at McKeon Park coming up in a couple days against the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks fall to 7-32-2. Falmouth up to 25 wins. 25 wins, 13 losses, and 1 tie. The Doors score 9 runs on 12 hits, no errors. Hyannis 5 runs on 6 hits, no errors. Cape League scorer gives the win to Christian Edwards. It's his first of the summer. Getting the loss is Patrick Fredrickson. 6'7" righty from Minnesota moves to 1-3 in the summer of 2019. These 2 teams will square off in 3.5 hours, about 20 miles back west, back at Gov Fuller Field. We'll see you guys then. For my sideline reporter, Katie Florio, producer Maxwell Trink, and broadcast partner Danny LaRose, I'm David Korzanowski saying so long and good afternoon. We will see you in just a few hours.